Comic Timing is member supported by listeners like you over at patreon.com/comic timing. We thank you very much for your continued support of the show. For as little as $1 a month, you can get some behind-the-scenes access, like some articles by Kris, some behind-the-scenes audio and video whenever we can supply it. We'll soon have ad-free episodes there if you don't like your pre- and post-roll, and a bunch of other stuff. So we thank you very much once again over at patreon.com/comic timing. And if you want to give a one-time donation, that's also available at paypal.me/IAM sci-fi. Money, 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 money. Hey there, folks. My name's Ian Levinstein, and welcome to episode 277 of Comic Timing. It's just the two of us. It's just me and Kris this episode as we give you the previously mentioned Toy Fair wrap-up episode that we tend to do, and we are going to go ahead and do that. By the way, this episode is sponsored by someone having the flu, as without that, I would have only gotten to see one booth as opposed to the multiple booths that I got to see this year at Toy Fair by attending one day. So thank you very much for the flu. Thank you very much for me not sounding like a frog anymore. And Kris doesn't sound like a frog either.
I mean, it's debatable. I do feel a little crackly right now.
Yeah, not nearly as bad as I did last episode. As I listened back to it, I was like, Jesus Christ, man! I literally sounded like I had just smoked a full pack. Like that was.
Yeah, I mean that's why I said maybe you should just take up smoking because it's not like we're all gonna live that long anyway.
Yay! Remember, we're a positive podcast. We're gonna be positive whenever we can be positive and not think about the horrible things happening in this world. But anyway, this episode, as previously stated, we're gonna talk about Toy Fair. We're gonna talk about both of our experiences there this year and what's gonna be happening in the future for Toy Fair. One thing in the future that I will mention is that next year, it won't be on Valentine's. It'll be the week after that, as this 2027 dates have been announced for Toy Fair, and it's going to be the 20th through the 23rd of February, as opposed to the week prior. So just a note on that it will not be Valentine's this time around. I wonder if that's because the Super Bowl is on Valentine's Day in 2027. Quite possibly.
When is President's Day?
President's Day for 2027. Let me see. President's Day 2027 is February 15th, actually.
Oh, okay. So it is a week later. Because a lot of the time, most of the years I've gone, it has been President's Day weekend.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's really weird because you think of it as a work event for most of these people, but it's on mostly non-work days.
Yeah, which means that people are forced to work on what would have been a day off for them. But I'm sure that they get a floating holiday in response to that or something like that. But
I'm sure.
According to the company, if they're nice, they'll go ahead and give them that. But they miss out on Valentine's Day and they miss out on President's Day most of the time. But again, I'm 99% certain that because the Super Bowl is that weekend, that's why they got the 20th to the 23rd this time around. Or it could be Javits reasons. Who the hell knows? But, either way, it's still about the same time of year at least.
Yeah, we don't know. I know people were complaining about it being in February. I'm sure people have always complained about it being in February. Yeah. So being even a week later is nice because there have been really bad blizzards some years. Like having to go to New York, having to go to the Javits in that kind of weather is just killer.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, we go to conventions and they're usually in much nicer times of the year.
Well, we just talked about that last episode, with the 20th anniversary of New York Comic Con, that there was that year that New York Comic Con was in February. There were multiple years actually that it was in the winter of New York, and no bueno. So we try to avoid that as much as possible, but we can't win them all. So. Yeah.
Yeah, it's whenever the Javits is free, and the Javits is usually pretty busy. It's not as busy since COVID, which I think worked to Toy Fair's benefit to get their slot back.
Yeah.
They clearly weren't able to get it for that first year back but after that, because we went and it was September.
Yes.
And then the following year didn't happen, and then we're back, baby.
Yeah, yeah. Mind you, I remember that year that it didn't happen. I remember there was supposed to be like a fill-in event that never actually materialized.
There might have been, but not in New York.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
There are Toy Association events in California, as I've learned recently.
Yep.
And some people who don't go to New York Toy Fair will go to that instead.
And then there's people that complain that it's in New York and think that it should be in California. To which I say, no, just no.
Yeah, that was a thing I saw on LinkedIn. And mind you, LinkedIn I know is very unhinged, and people will post the hottest of hot takes.
Of course.
And there was a creator, a guy who owns a company who's in LA, and he's like, it should be in LA. Yeah, the weather's nicer. Wouldn't the press prefer to just go down Wilshire, and then you can go to the beach later, and you can go to a local restaurant and everything. And I actually commented, I'm like, you really think the media can afford to fly out to LA and do all of the things you just described?
Oh, seriously, yeah. I mean, it's hard enough for media to do that in San Diego during Comic-Con, let alone a toy event if it was to be set in like LA.
Well, he was just like, oh, LA has plenty of media. And I'm like, I don't really know what the actual distribution of people who cover Toy Fair, where they are.
Yeah.
New York is historically the home of Toy Fair because it's where the Toy Association was headquartered.
Right.
Toy Fair used to be at the Toy Association headquarters. It outgrew the headquarters. I think it did some split shows where some of it was at the Toy Association and some of it was at Javits. And eventually they just moved the whole thing over to Javits. It's been like that for at least 20 plus years at this point. As far as I've been going, it's always been at the Javits, but I know people who remember the Toy Association days, and they do, lament that. And I think a lot of that lamentation comes out of the fact that the Javits itself is just harder to get to. And granted, I mean, we do have the 7 train, but that's more for attendees. When you're an exhibitor, it's not great. Like if you have to run back and forth between the hotel and the Javits, and your hotel is not that close.
Yeah. And there's still, to this day, are not really any hotels near the Javits. Like I think they're still in the works of building one, possibly 2 that might be literally across the street from the Javits. But I feel like those construction projects have been in the work for the last 7 years, and who knows when they're actually going to materialize. And even when that does happen, that's just 2 hotels. So obviously there's going to be not enough more people than there are hotels in the vicinity, even when they do build them. So yeah, it's going to be a trek no matter what.
Is there a hotel at Hudson Yards?
I think there might be, but it's not a big one. I know that. Or I think I vaguely remember us passing a sign for like a fitness hotel or something like that when we were walking over to the food hall that we walked over to the last time we were in the vicinity. But there's not a lot of space. That's definitely the case.
Yeah, there is one hotel called the Hudson Yards Hotel. It's actually on 42nd Street, which means it's not in Hudson Yards.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
The
hell?
Yeah, that's bullcrap. Oh my God. Okay, so there's an Equinox. I think the Equinox is the one you're thinking of.
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because it's Equinox, so your brain automatically goes, hey, the gym.
Yes. Isn't there also like a Hampton Inn or something like that? Not too far from the
there
Javits?
are. Once you walk away from the Javits, you start to, it's on 11th Avenue. So once you walk towards 10th and the 9th, you'll find more hotels. But the fact that there's nothing immediately there, because sometimes people might want to run back to their hotel room to get something.
Right.
It could be running late, or, maybe they want to work somewhere quiet, so they decide to go back to the hotel room. I know I've done that on business trips. Yeah, it's just odd. So I guess, maybe I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I did go to an offsite event at a building north of the Javits. It was not a hotel. It was just a regular apartment building, but I think you can rent out the rooms by the month. And that's what this PR company did, is they had rented the room for the month. And I guess that was easier or cheaper than just getting a booth inside the Javits.
Was that on Sunday, or was that a previous toy fair?
That was Sunday.
That was Sunday. Okay.
I went there first. I scheduled that, and then I walked over to the Javits afterwards. And they'll be like, "Hey, it's really close. It's near the Javits," except it's not that near because it was north of the Javits. So I had to walk from 34th Street up to 40th to get past the Javits to get to this building.
Yeah.
That's something people forget. Like, the subway is here, and once north of the Javits is 6 or 7 blocks away.
I actually appreciate that some of our non-New York listeners do appreciate our New York talk, just so that they get a basic idea of, like, the actual layout of it all, as opposed to the New Yorkers that may be a little bit more familiar with it. So, let me know in the comments whether you highly appreciate our very New York centric directions that we give on episodes like this, because what's going to happen. Just like I'm going to complain about when New York is not actually New York in a movie. So that's just the way that goes.
I will say, for non-New Yorkers, 20 blocks is a mile.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't help you if you are a kilometer person. I don't know the conversion. To me, a kilometer is just a slightly smaller mile, and that's how I conceive of it. But
1.6 kilometers is 1 mile, by the way. So
yeah, I'm not doing that conversion in terms of but yeah, so 20 blocks is a mile. That means 10 blocks is half a mile. So if you're walking 6 blocks, you can do the conversion on that one. But it's not a quick walk. I know that used to be like a 10-minute walk for me anyway. When in my old apartment, to walk to the subway, it was always 6 blocks. Right. And it felt like an eternity. It's just like, I need to get there. I need to get there now. I need to get there now. Like, the subway ride could be really quick, but your walk would take forever.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, that's the general layout of the Javits area is that we have a subway station now. We talked about it last episode. It's great. But that's on 34th Street. And the Javits actually, this is here. Anybody want a pro tip? If you were attending a convention at the Javits, do not walk up 34th Street. When you get off the subway, walk up 35th instead. It's quieter.
Yep.
And it's actually where the first entrance. There are multiple entrances since it is a convention center. It's a huge building. Yep. But you're better off walking up 35th or 36th or 30. Like, if you're going to New York Comic Con, you want to be at the north side of the Javits. Yeah. Because that's what they let the general public in. So it's easier if you're getting off the subway, just walk through the park instead, and then turn to your left or turn to the west, depending on how you think of directions. But it's just easy. I always find it easier to just walk that way instead of walking over to 11th and then trying to squeeze past all the people in front of the Javits.
Otherwise known as the back of the 7 train. If you're coming from the 7 train, like, rather than going to the front of the 7 train, go all the way to the back, and you'll wind up at the 35th Street entrance, and you'll probably be better off that way. And if it's one of those stupid times that we also tend to talk about in these episodes, which luckily did not happen this time, where the 7 train is not running at all. Also a pro tip, don't get off at 34th Street and walk or take the bus. Get off at 42nd. And for me, I always find that to be an easier walk than the 34th Street walk. So that you'll wind up getting to the north area of Javits pretty easily if you get off at 42nd. And then you can enter through there. So another pro tip.
I feel like this. Well, I think I've mentioned this. We'll put a pin in it in future episodes. Maybe we'll do one a Comic-Con preview, and we can talk about all of this. Yeah, and people will actually remember it, as opposed to recording in March.
Yes.
And then, nobody's going to remember this by October, unless you are listening to this in October, which, thank you. That's really cool. I like when people listen to old podcasts.
Absolutely, man. I mean, we just wound up through the accidental nature of switching servers and me having to include my entire RSS on the feed when the server switch happened. Now, every back episode of Comic Timing is available in audio form on YouTube. So if you're a YouTube listener, or if you're a YouTube audio listener, those are all available there. And I know that because of this switch, that a whole bunch of people have been listening to back episodes recently. So, thank you guys for going back to the back catalog and finding stuff that you might be interested in. Some person commented on my Evan Dorkin interview from 2006 on the YouTube. The first ever interview I did on Comic Timing, which I bring up as the time that Evan Dorkin owned me. So yes, people are listening to back episodes in one form or another. That is definitely something that does happen. So if you're listening to this in October, once again, Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll bring it back to March and bring it even back further to February when we were going to this thing. The first thing we did was actually essentially have a preview day for us as we scheduled. I mean, what I didn't think I was going to be able to attend at all, Mattel had an offering for Friday. And the show opens officially on Saturday. So you and I ventured in to the Javits for Friday and got to check out the Mattel booth a day early.
Yeah, so I don't know if they did it last year. I did not get an invite for it last year, but I did get an invite this year. So I think they did not do it last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mattel is not on the show floor. They used to be years and years ago. But at some point, I say at some point because I was not there for it, and I don't think this is something I can easily look up. At some point, they took over the Crystal Pavilion.
Yes.
Which is it's the top floor of the Javits. If you go to New York Comic Con, that's where they put the press center.
Yeah.
And the professionals area.
Jamal mentioned last episode as well. That was the first time when he was in the artist alley for the first time. That's where the artist alley initially was for New York Comic Con.
Yeah,
until it,
I remember when Podcast Alley was up there.
Yep.
But yeah, that's where Mattel takes over. The front is they have a reception area, and then they have their showroom, and then behind that is like the business area where they do all the meetings. They have little booths. They also have some stuff that is not for public consumption. We did not get to see any of that. We were not invited. I've only been back there in the conference room area maybe once, and that was when they introduced the Cybertruck Hot Wheels stuff. You know, that was 2020, which was the last toy fair before the pandemic started.
Yeah.
But yeah, we saw the showroom, and I mean, it was fine.
Yeah. Last year's showroom was a little bit special because of the anniversary year, where it felt like they had new shiny things to show off, and it also felt like there was just a lot more to it. Even though it was the same space, even though it was similar layout, it just felt like there was more to be seen in 2025 than there was in 2026. That's also possible that because of the skip year, that they may have just had more to show off. But this time around, it's kind of underwhelming all around.
So it's the usual display of brands. We have Hot Wheels, Barbie, Matchbox next to the Hot Wheels. They actually still keep them as separate brands, which I understand. I'm a Matchbox person. I know the difference.
Yep.
You know, Hot Wheels is made for going on the little tracks and zipping around. Matchbox cars tend to have more detail.
Yep.
So we saw those. There was Uno. I'm just scroll through my photos real quick. American Girl showed some stuff. I might as well just get it out there. They, among a bunch of other people, had KPop Demon Hunters stuff.
Yep, that was definitely the theme of Toy Fair was KPop Demon Hunters.
Yeah, I will say that for Mattel, the highlight for me probably was the Hot Wheels stuff. I feel like Hot Wheels reliably has new stuff every year. They had an F1 set, which was very cool. It was chunkier plastic than you get from the usual plastic tracks, and you know, and they showed us the little F1 cars, and it was very cute. And they have little boost technology. I mean, I don't even think it's that new, but they put it in this track so that, you know, if you push the button at the right time, the little flipper will come out and push your car even further, which was kind of neat.
Yep.
It was a little pricey, but it's you know, a Hot Wheels track. They've never, you know, if you get those really deluxe ones, they're not going to be super cheap.
Yeah.
They also showed us and I have the photo here on my screen. I don't know if you took a photo, Ian. The Let's Race Attack of the T-Rex.
Oh yeah, no, I think I think I took a picture of that.
But what I thought was cool about this is it has it's like a tower with multiple levels, and there's like little parking lots to park your cars. There's like a repair shop and like a detailing area, and there's an elevator that goes up to the different levels, but the elevator is actually a T-Rex head. And you can like it moves up floor by floor. You can use the tail is a crank. Like there's a T-Rex and the head is the elevator, but the rest of the T-Rex is there, and you crank the tail to get the elevator to go up and down. And when it goes down, it's like so kids are gonna love that. And it's got the tracks that go down, and everything. It's definitely a thing little kids will get a kick out of. The main issue I always have with this is, of course, not everyone has room for those type of track setups.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they have room, I find that the kids who have them, their rooms are the messiest rooms I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep. I found my photo of the one with the T-Rex opened up, just so you can get an idea of what it looks like when the when the T-Rex is open, and that's where the cars would basically shoot down the T-Rex after being eaten. So this is a side view of that same thing. It's a really cool concept, and for a play set. It's a great way to kind of combine like the two things that kids are into, or boys are into in particular at that age, which is dinosaurs and cars. Like I feel like some kids are one or the other, or they're both, and this literally combines both in the same thing. So
yeah, I mean, like I said, my main issue is the space. I look at play sets like that, and I think of it more, and I'm kind of surprised there aren't more places that just offer like go and play with expensive toys that you can't have in your house.
yeah.
Like here, go play with this Hot Wheels set, or go play with this Barbie dream house, because you will never have one. I mean, I think they're not going to make enough money. I think is probably the problem, because kids break stuff, especially if it's not theirs. They do not care. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was neat. But aside from that, like nothing really pops out. I know Hot Wheels showed us a few other things. There's a slime set. Where there's like the cars can like go through like a slime field, and the slime doesn't pick up lint or anything like that. The woman
really
literally
cool.
showed us. She threw it on the floor, picked it up. There was no schmutz on it. It was kind of amazing. And I touched it, and it didn't leave any residue on my hands, which is always nice, because slime is fun, but it's
the F1 track was pretty cool too. When we got to see what that new version of their racetrack is, with official F1 branding, as with the F1 registered trademark, the movie that is available for Best Picture.
No, it's not. It's not the movie that they're licensing.
I know they're reference. What I'm saying is that it's in popular culture a little bit more now because of that.
Not because of the movie though. It is Drive to Survive. We talked to the guy at the booth about this. I've talked to my brother about it. My brother's a big F1 fan, and he says, yeah, Drive to Survive definitely made it blow up in popularity. Because I said, oh, do you guys feel like it's like around more now, like it's more popular? And they're like, well, it's always been around, it's always been popular, which is not a real answer.
No,
it is Drive to Survive. People got more interested in it as a sport, more interested in it for the drama, and it became a more popular license for toys. So we saw it at the Hot Wheels / Matchbox booth. I also saw it at Lego has F1 sets. I know because I bought my brother one for Christmas.
Yeah.
And we just see it around more. So I think that's interesting. That probably will stick around for a few years. Another license we saw in the booth was Cars, which Cars is 20 now.
Oh boy. Yeah,
this podcast is 20 years old, but thinking about Cars being 20,
I know.
And kids who were into it when it came out are now grown-ass adults.
Yep.
People who probably have kids of their own at this point. I hate saying that, but if you figure someone who could be 6 when the movie came out can now have, honestly, like a 4 or 5-year-old, and it's not like they had kids, when they were teenagers.
I know that when she said it, like our eyes kind of bulged out of our heads, but at the same time, yeah, it is one of those everlasting franchises. Like it will always be big for kids that were the age that it was when it premiered 20 years ago, and it just kind of just rebuilds itself for kids that are that age now. Like I'd say maybe 6-7-year-olds, something like that. That's absolutely what Cars is made for.
My eyes don't bulge out because it's 20. My eyes bulge out because it sucks. I still have not watched Cars 2 or 3 because Cars 1 just turned me off so much of it. And I know that, well, actually, I might have seen Cars 2. I don't remember it. That tells you a lot, I think. And mind you, I'm one of those people on the internet who can't get over the fact that there's you watch some of the scenes in the Cars universe, and it's like, oh, we're going through a metal detector to get on a plane, and I'm taking off my tires. And I've said this before, I will say it again. That posits that there was a Cars 911
Oh God, no.
in which terrorist cars took over planes, which are sentient in their universe.
Oh, God.
So they blew up a sentient plane, and now the cars have to take off their tires to go fly on a sentient plane.
I don't want to think about that. I mean, there's also been like really like dystopian theories that, you know, that Cars takes place in the far future after human civilization has died out and the only thing that's left are their sentient cars.
I've seen that. I've seen that theory. Related theory is that the cars are the people because the people evolved into the cars or merged with the cars, or that the cars have the souls of their drivers who died in the apocalypse.
I don't like any of these. I don't like any of these.
Like honestly, you know what? I say I hate Cars, but I really, really love the fan theory.
Yeah, the actual like fan lore is more interesting than the fucking movie. So yes, absolutely the case. Absolutely the case.
And my final note on Cars is that I was almost tempted to buy it, but they sell the Pope Mobile.
Yes. Oh man. Yep. That's almost as good as the Pope Pop, quite frankly. You know that.
Which they only released in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Come on, Funko, give us the Leo. I want a Leo Pop.
Yeah, right.
A Pope vinyl. Yeah.
Some of the other brands they had on display, they had their usual WWE stuff. It had a really cool like area like that was fashioned like the old WWE ramp back when we were kids, back when it was the WWF, with the multicolors in there. That's the quote unquote new generation ramp from like 1996, which was pretty cool. But the toys themselves, if I find my pictures from earlier on as I went back and took that picture, they had some WWE X Street Fighter crossover action figures that are coming out, as a whole bunch of WWE people are going to be in the Street Fighter movie. Like John Cena is going to be in it as Guile, and I know that Roman Reigns is going to be playing I believe Akuma in the movie. So they have these crossover figures that they created for that, and even stuff like the Rock final boss as M. Bison and a Rey Mysterio as well.
Yeah, I want to issue a correction. It's Cody Rhodes as Guile.
Oh, Cody Rhodes. You're right. Cody Rhodes. My bad.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think Cena's in that. Cena is in the Matchbox movie.
Yes.
Which they did mention to us. The only thing they had to show was an RC car that has, I forget the word for it, but the hook. The winch.
Yes.
It has a winch on the front, and you can like hook it, and the winch will actually pull up this giant ass RC car.
Yep.
I mean, it was cool, but kind of unimpressive, especially since if it's based on the one in the movie, it was just beige, like it didn't have any flashy colors. And I'm a grown-ass adult, but I still want like color.
The other big movie franchise they had on display were the toys for the upcoming Masters of the Universe movie. That's going to be coming out, and they did have what that first wave of action figures are going to look like for said movie, which is going to be out in, I believe, June, if the next picture in here is correct. Yes, June 5th, 2026 is when the Masters of the Universe movie is going to be coming out. And all things considered, I actually kind of like the build on these.
The figures are nice.
Yeah.
What I feel about the movie, I mean, we haven't talked about it on the podcast. Maybe I'll just get that out now. People get really excited about it. And I watched Masters of the Universe. It came out in, was it 84?
Yep.
It was like 83, 84. So I was really big into it when I was 4 and 5. I had some of the figures. I had He-Man. I had Teela. Might have had a Master of Arms figure, but I'm not entirely sure on that. And then I watched She-Ra when that came out because it was made for girls. Yay, girls. But but I don't feel that same like, oh my God, He-Man. I'm not like Kevin Smith, who has to go and make his own He-Man anime on Netflix because he was so happy with the previous He-Man production.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter. Like I've talked repeatedly on this podcast, so like understand some things aren't made for me, and I've grown past Masters of the Universe. And if
Yeah.
you like Masters of the Universe, that's fine.
Right.
You know, enjoy if it's good, great, whatever. I think the thing is, I saw the trailer and I'm immediately disappointed by it because a lot of it is set in the real world.
Uh-huh.
And I saw the 87 Masters of the Universe movie in theaters, which was also set in, you know, in our world on Earth.
Yeah.
And that it just made me sad because, like, first off, you have an opportunity to do something different, to break away from the reputation of that movie. And you went back to the real world anyway, just so you can make an office joke where he has the plaque that says he him. Which a lot of people immediately miss the joke there. They're like, "Ooh, it's about anti-woke." And it's like, he's called He-Man. That's
Yeah.
where the joke is.
Exactly.
But it like, I know some people disagree with me, but I felt like it showed a lack of confidence in the Eternia setting.
Yeah.
Eternia is neat. Eternia, I mean, granted, it exists to sell toys, but at least it's imaginative and it's very different and it doesn't look like anything
Yeah.
else. You know, so I know that the movie does have scenes in it, and, you know, I can't say they look great from the trailers because a lot of thing is CG, you know, schlop at this
Yeah.
point. You know, again, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. If people enjoy it, they enjoy it. It's just I don't have that same excitement. The figures do look awesome.
Yes.
My main point of contention with the figures, though, if you are on the video, you can see the photo of the Tila figure. Doesn't look like Tila to me. Like, I know it looks like the character in the movie, but even in the trailer, Tila is wearing a white outfit, which is closer to what she wore on the show. And the figure they had on display is not wearing that white outfit. And that's more iconic to me. It's a better looking outfit.
Right.
And like, I mean, yeah, I'm going to care about the Tila figure. I owned a Tila figure, so I'm going to care about Tila.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, again, I had He-Man, but I'm going to care about Tila. And that just like, you know, that I mean, that just continues the whole thing with like, we're making toys for boys, we're making toys for girls, which is not something we did until the 80s. And we seem to be stuck in it forever now.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I mean, you know, we could also make the comment that everybody always winds up making, and we make all the time, that, you know, everything old is new again. You know, all of these franchises, whether it's been, you know, 40 years since they came out or not, are going to be revisited because they have to remain, you know, useful to the IP owner, and be, you know, renewed in the public eye so that they can then make toys, make arcade, you know, animated series, make video games, and make profit, period, off of their franchise. And that's what they're obviously trying to do here with Masters of the Universe. That's why the animated series came out in the past couple of years. You know, She-Ra did great when it was
great.
out.
She-Ra was a huge break even from the original.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was the Princesses of Power, not She-Ra, the Princess of Power.
Right.
So they put a lot of emphasis on the supporting cast. But like, She-Ra herself had a big storyline because it was her and Catra and their will they won't they thing going on, you know. And I mean, we could go for a whole episode about the reaction to that show because I know people complaining, it's not my She-Ra. And I'm like, you're a 40-year-old man. She-Ra was never for you.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Like, it was there because this is when we were starting the stratification into boys' toys and girls' toys.
Right.
And they're like, oh, what if He-Man, but for girls? And I liked both. And I mean, I'll admit, I probably liked the She-Ra figures more because they had more, they were more dressy. You could put outfits on them. I mean, they had capes and crowns and masks, and they had hair that you could brush. So I definitely, you know, girls love hair play. I mean, I bet boys would love hair play too if they just gave it a shot, but girls love hair play. But yeah, again, you know, if that's what Mattel wants to do, that's what they want to focus on. And it's fully understandable after the success of the Barbie movie.
Absolutely.
Barbie did so good that they're like, okay, we're doing a Matchbox movie and we're doing another Masters of the Universe movie. Of course, they are clearly getting the wrong ideas from these films because, you know, for my first thing when I heard Matchbox movie, and I'm like, is America Ferrara going to be in it? Because that whole sequence, I mean, or the Hot Wheels movie, because that whole sequence of her driving the car in the Barbie movie felt like, you know, Greta Gerwig was like shooting to direct, you know, a Hot Wheels movie. It was a car. Why was there a car chase in a Barbie movie? It was weird, but you know, it would have been fun because I said instead of, you know, you can have your Mattel Extended Universe, but really just have it be the Gloria Extended Universe.
Yeah, why not?
Have America Ferrara in all of the movies. She could show up in Masters of the Universe. Maybe she's in it, and I don't know. But yeah, they also I feel like they did take the wrong lesson from the Barbie movie. This isn't again, I'm not trying to crap on any of the lovely people we met at Mattel
Oh, sure.
or anything like that. But it's, the somebody higher up is just not quite getting it. Like it was popular not because it was Barbie. It was popular because it was just good. Like
Right.
everyone played with Barbies, so they were curious about it. But the movie had legs because it was just good and it understood it was about toys,
Yeah.
and understanding how we play with toys and what we like about Barbie. And that's why that movie works. And and again, I see these movies, the Matchbox movie, Masters of the Universe, and I do wonder if they understand what people like about these properties. And that's going back to what I said about how it felt like they have no confidence in the Eternia setting, except Eternia is one of the things you like about He-Man.
Sure.
You like the fantasy world, and I want to see the fantasy world.
Well, and with Matchbox the movie, it better damn well be stupid on purpose, quite frankly, because
Well,
like
the difference between the two brands, though, is Hot Wheels is stupid.
Yes.
Matchbox is for the elite, nerdy people.
Aye.
It would have to be. It has to be a more technical movie, which is not the impression I've gotten so far.
yeah,
So.
Sam Richardson, Jessica Biel, John Cena, Tiona Paris, and others in this, directed by Sam Hargrave. And who doesn't really have a lot under his belt outside of the Extraction movies.
Yeah, that's not great. Not great. It's it sounds like even they don't have a lot of confidence in it. They're like nobody cares about Matchbox.
Yeah.
I care about Matchbox, but again, Matchbox was always the scale model cars, the 164 cars for the nerdier child.
Yeah.
'Cause as a child, I got frustrated. Like if somebody would give me a Hot Wheels car, and I hated the Hot Wheels cars. One, because they didn't have like doors that open and stuff, but I hated because they didn't tell you what car it was. Matchbox cars always print on the bottom what the make and model is
Yes.
of the car. And I love that. Like it's the only reason I know anything about cars is I would flip over the Matchbox car and see the make and model on the bottom.
It's smart.
And but that's also like because they know people collect them. So
yeah.
but anyway, we're talking about Barbie.
Yeah, so Barbie also, unfortunately, I felt like didn't really have a lot new to be revealed this time around. I mean, yeah, the hype of the movie has kind of died down a little bit, but didn't really see anything like that new and innovative this time around.
I don't think they really capitalized on the movie that much because it's been 3 years and they still haven't released dolls of all the things people wanted. Like it was only last year that we got the Alan doll. The Alan doll looks really creepy. He looks like the victim in a hostage video. I mean, they tried. Michael Cera's a weird looking dude. I like Michael Cera a lot, but he is a weird looking dude. Like the movie's irrelevant at this point. Like that's fine. And the play line never really dipped into it that much. They had some $25 Barbies from the movie, so you could consider those kind of play line. Like someone could buy it for their kid because they like the movie.
Yeah.
But most of the Barbie the movie stuff was collector grade, which is fine. Collector grade is like a huge market for them right now. You go on subreddit for Barbie, they are crazy people. I will tell you this is where I learned that there is a practice of people will either shoplift or they will buy and then return Barbies from places like Target.
Oh boy.
But they swap out the heads.
Oy.
Like that's a thing people will do is they will get a Barbie to take the head off and they'll put some other head on it and then return it to the store.
Well, that's crazy.
It is crazy. And like, especially since I'm reading the subreddit and somebody was like, that head is from this Barbie. That's a rare Barbie. Why would you do that?
Makes no sense.
Yeah, like they will, because people do swap heads and stuff. They customize their dolls, and that's one of the ways they do it. They'll switch around the heads, and people will. There are threads and like, what's the skin tone match for this head? And people will say, oh, this doll, or this doll. Those are your only choices. It's a whole thing. It's fascinating. I don't collect Barbies, but I actually do like reading the subreddit because, like many Reddits, it's crazy. But yeah, so Barbie, as the Barbie expert, I guess, in this group, I will say, yeah, they weren't that exciting. Ian put up this picture of this little closet thing that I think was very cute. So they have these, I forgot what the name of the line is. They're not like the because they have different types of like Barbie lines. They have one that's like a fashion forward line, they also do some limited editions in it, and I think that's what these are called. These are, I just can't remember what they're called right now.
Yeah.
But we didn't really focus on that. We didn't really care, to be honest. The big standouts that we saw, and I realized I never took a video of it. I don't even know if I took a photo. I didn't take a photo. Was they have these Barbies in balls?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, I didn't take a video. I want to kick myself.
Oh my God.
Because basically it's like a Pokeball. It looks like a soccer ball, and they roll it and the ball pops open and the Barbie jumps out. It's not like a gimmicky toy that you can only use for that one thing, though. It's a real Barbie inside the ball. You can take the doll out, play with it like a normal Barbie. It's a made-to-move Barbie. But you can seat her inside this ball, and the way it's arranged, like that when you open the ball, but the doll will pop out. It takes advantage of the fact that the made-to-move doll has all these joints. And to be honest, we were talking to somebody at the show, not at the Mattel booth, and we said it had that vibe of the surprise, motherfucker.
or like we said multiple times, like a Pokemon bouncing out of a Pokeball.
Yeah,
like,
I said like it was like a Pokeball.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is very much surprise, motherfucker. This Barbie just stands up. There was it was a soccer ball. One was it a volleyball?
There was a rugby ball too, if I remember correctly.
No. Well, for starters, most rugby balls aren't. Yeah, no, it's not. We're in the United States. Who plays rugby in the United States?
All right, fair.
I'm pretty sure it was volleyball, because women's volleyball or whatever.
Okay.
And the third one was just like a pop star, which is weird. Even on the Barbie subreddit, they were like, pop star? Why a pop star?
Yeah.
I thought it was very cute. And I like that it's a usable doll. Once you get bored with your Barbie Pokemon, you can just play with the Barbie normal. But it felt like they didn't have too much going on. There was that. There were these flower reveal dolls, that have they reminded me of, why am I suddenly from not the spinny fairy dolls, remember, from 20 years ago?
Yeah. No, I don't.
The Spin Master X. Why am I blanking? You're very useless, Ian. I need you to help me with this.
I mean, Spin Master Fairies I can look up. Let's say.
Let's both look it up, because somebody is listening to this and freaking the hell out right now because we can't remember.
Was it Flutterby?
Yeah, there's Flutterby, but there's another brand I'm trying to think of that is... But let's just say it's similar to that, right?
Crystal Flyers?
Yeah, I think there were a bunch of these toys. It is a specific type of toy. I was trying to remember the original. They had a Macy's parade balloon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting confused or whatever it was.
Okay.
Maybe it is just Flutterby. Oh, Sky Dancers!
Sky Dancers. Okay. Yes.
Sky Dancers. I don't know what the jingle is. My brain just went Sky Dancers. But
that is now officially the jingle.
Yeah, but Sky Dancers, Flutterby, whatever, all of these. And they had something sort of like that. I don't think the Barbie actually flew, but it looked like that. And it was not a standard Barbie, so it really didn't have any use beyond being this cute little fairy in a planter that would, grow for you.
Yeah.
I think my biggest shock of seeing the Barbie booth was that they had the Creator Barbie thing.
Oh, yeah.
The Barbie Basics, the same type in Creations Mattel. And I wanted to see the new ones, and they didn't have the new ones on display.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because last year the creative sets were all in black. They had a Caucasian one, like a brown skin, probably Hispanic, but choose your ethnicity Barbie. And they had the white, the black, and the Hispanic Barbie, right? And they came with black clothes, and it was a set of the different bodies and the heads, and you could buy it, and then you could, just like if you were on the subreddit, you could swap around the heads and the outfits, right? This year is beige themed, which is cool. It's fine. I'm not, I got nothing against beige unless it's in baby toys, because I think that's boring and terrible for babies.
Yeah.
But that's the new one, and they didn't have them. I would have liked to see them in person, because I've only seen the leak photos. And You Create, that's the name of the line. I'm trying to pull up the website. It's slow, but they only had last year's You Create. They didn't have this year's You Create. But I would have liked to see them. And I even mentioned to the woman, and she seemed, I don't know, I guess a little embarrassed by it. Yeah. That was the general note I got from our whole thing, is that we got through that whole showroom in a half an hour.
Yeah.
I've never done it that quickly. I've spent usually an hour there. I know at least once, I think it took 2 hours, because we were shooting, I was with Engadget, we were shooting a video. But this, we zoomed right through it. It was I think the fact that we zoom right through it is why I didn't get video of the Pokeball Barbie
Right.
or took pictures of much else. I look at my photos and I have Hot Wheels and Uno, one picture of the wrestling, one picture of Masters of the Universe. Like again, it's just I don't think we took any pictures of the collector stuff because it wasn't that impressive, to be honest. We saw the American Girls, like the modern collection that people are complaining about. The internet always complains about things.
What else is there?
Yeah, if you haven't seen these, they are American Girl dolls, the historical ones, the ones that we are familiar with, but they are dressed in modern styled outfits that evoke their original outfits. Yeah, Ian's posting a picture. It shows Samantha and Molly, and it has the original Samantha and the original Molly in there. Like Samantha has that Victorian dress with the pleats and it's got the check pattern, and Molly has her little blue skirt and her sweater vest. And then you see the new version, the special edition ones, where Samantha's in like a pink shirt with a little checked skirt, and Molly has her. It's not like a sweater vest. It's just what do you call it? Like a sweater t-shirt,
something like that. Yeah.
And people are complaining, one, that are like, oh my God, they're smaller, is because you worried about their weight or whatever. And it's like, the woman outright said, these are Welly Wisher size. That is another brand that American Girl had or has. I haven't kept up with their lines. It's not a big deal. They're not. There we go. I just hit my mic because I'm talking with my hands. Yay. Yeah, it's just another, like a nice little thing. And it's the anniversary. It's been 40 years of American Girls.
Yeah.
So they're just releasing this as an anniversary thing. It's not replacing Kirsten, Samantha, Molly. Those dolls will still be sold. I mean, they'll still be sold right now. That doesn't mean that the dolls won't be retired at some point in the future. They've been doing that over the years.
Right.
Because they keep introducing new historical dolls, and then they pull some out of production, which kind of sucks. Like, if your kid is 6 and you're like, oh, I'm going to get an American Girl doll, get a Kirsten one because that's the one I had. And then you find out Kirsten's not being made. And that kind of sucks. But it wasn't a big deal. That was fine. Like, I saw them. They were cute. I did mention, I saw the leaks. And that, I think, made the Mattel people a little uncomfortable. Because, I felt like I saw everything that we saw at the show.
Yeah. Can I point out the two things that we didn't mention yet that I really enjoyed? And I mean, again, these aren't like anything like special, but the Little People Mario set that we saw really caught my eye because it's evoking and reminiscent to the actual like size that in my head old school Super Mario Brothers would be for a playset like this, because the smaller Mario evokes old school Nintendo to me. And they're able to utilize that with a set like Little People because it's small to begin with. So you've got the smaller figures there, and it's a nice Mario Brothers play set with a whole bunch of
obstacles.
Yeah, obstacles to get over there. So that's pretty cool.
It is, it's a play set that kind of evokes playing the platformer game, where Mario jumps on different things. There's little actions, mushrooms pop out of the ground. There's the piranha plant, the fire flower, all this stuff is there. I do feel like, well, one, it's very clear like that the licensing department at Nintendo has been working more overtime because, you can buy Lego Mario that's been around for a few years now. It's actually done really well for Lego.
Yep.
And it's nice to see other brands kind of stepping into it and doing toys that aren't just like slapping Mario on it.
Yes.
Like, we're trying to evoke the feel of playing the game, to evoke the nostalgia. And let's be honest, it is a huge nostalgia play because not every kid is playing Mario, but their parents statistically probably have played some Mario, and this is kind of aiming for that. I kind of wanted to get this for my niece, even though I'm not even a Mario fan. I'm just not good at Mario games. Like, they've never really popped out at me. I have my franchises, and Mario is not one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like, I mind you, Little People is one of the things at Mattel that I feel like is really popping off. It's not just that, oh, here we have a Mario set. They've been doing so much licensed stuff. Like, you can get like Addams Family Little People. And one of the collector's things I saw were Salvador Dali.
Oh, yeah.
I've always tempted. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get my mom the Stranger Things Little People. That kind of, like, I see that. They're very cute. They're not the Little People I grew up with. I'm not going to get all precious about that. I do like the original Little People, the ones I played with for, reasons. My niece has the town play set that my brother got when he was little. And it's very detailed. It's got little stores. You have a mail truck, you can deliver mail to all the things. There's an ice cream counter that actually, if you push it in, a closed sign comes down. We also have a little people garage with an actual elevator that you crank and it goes up by the floor. And my niece broke it and it was easy to fix because these old toys, were just made to have bricks dropped on them and continue to work.
Yeah.
And I liked that because the people were little, we were able to have so much detail and such an expansive little world that we can create. She also has the current little people and she likes playing with them. She has the Barbie plane, the school bus. She has a food truck, which is how I've taught her the words for like burrito and taco and quesadilla. And she has a little trailer and she likes them a lot. And she's like, you want to play people? I want to play people. And I'm like, we can play people. It's fine. But yeah, I think Little People is one of those parts of Mattel that continues to really shine right now.
Absolutely.
Again, they're cute. And, mind you, because they're bigger, they made them bigger so that kids don't choke on them, I guess. They have more detail, so they actually look like things. And mind you, I go through them and I can see, oh, this little person has vitiligo. They make one with vitiligo. And both the plane and the school bus that she has have spots for wheelchairs. They have handicap.
That's cool. That's really cool.
We can plug in the guy in the wheelchair who has a basketball. He's a basketball player. And we can plug him in on the plane or on the school bus. It's interesting.
Nice.
So I will say that is a highlight of Mattel. That they continue to do that.
And we mentioned in passing the KPop Demon Hunter stuff, and just to point out, Mattel definitely had the most out of the other companies that we saw that were jumping on the KPop Demon Hunter train. You'll see here a whole bunch of different options there. There's KPop Demon Hunters Uno even thrown in there for good measure. But you've got actual action figures. You've got more chibi-esque figures to play with for the fans thrown in there for good measure. Get a picture here of the other action figures that are available, very posable, with a whole bunch of different faces and hands you can swap out, and then the larger Barbie sized KPop Demon Hunter dolls that will be available as well as part of that. But bringing up KPop Demon Hunters as one of the many times in the lifespan of franchises where nobody expected it to blow up, and then everybody was like, oh crap, we don't have anything for this, we need to jump on this immediately. And now Mattel is one of those brands that is definitely jumping on that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm really, again, I've said it on the podcast before. Some people say, oh, Netflix dropped the ball. Netflix didn't drop the ball. I mean, if they might have dropped it a little bit, but as far as I know, they still offered the license. I read, some articles say they did offer the license and nobody wanted to pick it up.
Yeah. Which
is kind of reasonable in a way when it's an unknown brand, and Netflix has had other unknown brands that people have picked up and then gotten burned by it. I mostly think of Over the Moon, which had some nice dolls, but nobody watched Over the Moon.
Yeah.
You should watch Over the Moon. I'm not going to say it's a fantastic movie, but it's pretty good. It's decent. It's on par with a lot of like Illumination or DreamWorks movies, right? But yeah, nobody wanted to pick up the license, and then the movie blew up, and then everybody clamored for the license. And Netflix was very generous and gave the license, sold the license to a lot of people. So we saw not just Mattel, we saw Hasbro had some stuff. Yep. I know Funko had stuff. Maybe Spin Master.
I think Spin Master had a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, everybody got a little bit of KPop Demon Hunters. I feel like the only major company that didn't have it was Lego, but that's a little weird because they don't really have that much is buildable.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you have like the plane, maybe. I'm not going to buy a KPop Demon Hunters plane. I mean, some people might, but not me.
No.
But yeah, like it exploded, and yeah, Mattel is like a natural fit because they're best known for the dolls. Like people wanted KPop Demon Hunters, fashion dolls. They wanted KPop Demon Hunters Barbies, and they have a collector set, which I think wears the white outfits, but the ones that they had on display were the black outfits, which I think will be the Playline dolls.
Yep.
The figures are very cool. Those are clearly not meant for kids because they have all the little fiddly bits. Those are for collectors to make their own dioramas. Even some of the faces are interesting because they actually included the ramen, so they have ramen eating faces. That's not for playing. That is for creating dioramas.
Oh, sure.
we've seen this thread over the past few years. I mean, it's been going on for a while, the kidult thing.
Hmm.
You can speculate on why it exists. And I will say that part of it is when you don't grow up with much, you end up overcompensating. Or if you do have something and it's taken away from you, you want it back when you're an adult. I know a
Hmm.
few people who did that, like, oh, I own the Masters of the Universe castle and my mom threw it out. So I bought myself a new one when I was a grown up. Like, that's a common story I've heard.
Yeah.
I know that for me, that's like in my 20s, I did that a lot. I bought a lot of toys just because I was like, oh, I can do that. And I
Yeah.
don't have kids. And my always rationalization for it was that if I have kids, I'll just give it to them when I'm done.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
still do that. I'm like, oh, you know what? I have this. I'll just give it to my niece when she's older. It's
Yeah. Why
fine.
not? Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, like it's a big market, and yeah, those action figures are definitely made for kidults, and we still saw a lot of stuff, and I don't see a problem with it if
No.
it's still making the money, it's still keeping the companies afloat.
Yep.
Because I guess I'm bringing this up a little early, but one of the big threads we saw at Toy Fair was that you could feel the effects of the tariffs.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a whole bunch of times, I've gotten into the habit, and, Chris always laughs at it, but it's one of the things that got me into the habit of asking is, what's the MSRP? When we go up to a booth, so I can, know how much this is going to cost. And we could talk about that a little bit when we're discussing, the toy itself. And a whole bunch of the times we received a response of, we're not quite sure about that yet, or that's still pending, or something along those lines, because of the world that we're in right now, and tariffs. It's very hard to pin down a price until it's literally ready for market at that last possible moment. So, that's something that Nintendo's even running into right now. Like, there's been talk of the Switch 2 possibly going up in price as opposed to down in price, because parts are just not nearly as accessible and are costing more money to produce than they were a couple years ago.
I mean, that's a bigger issue. I was going to save this for later, but I might as well just bring it up now.
Hmm.
Is that I noticed there was less tech at the show in general. I don't have to go into it too much right now, but the thing is that I've been going to Toy Fair regularly for the past decade, and doing it under Engadget's banner, I usually have to look for tech-oriented toys.
Yeah.
And people like Mattel, this is actually a good, tag onto what we just talked about,
Hmm.
is Mattel had like a chief technology officer, Sven Jervitz. I forgive me if I mangled his name, but he was pushing a lot of technological toys. So I remember there was like a hologram Barbie, like a little Barbie in a box that you could like talk to.
Yeah.
Very primitive LLM AI stuff in there. This was years ago, years ago. We're talking about before COVID, right? They also had a 3D printer. It was because they brought back, you remember Thing Maker used to be able to make little plasticky things in this. I think it was like a 70s toy.
Hmm.
And they brought that back as a 3D printer. And then it never emerged, because I remember following up on it and finding out they had shit canned it.
Ooh.
But every year there'd be like something new from Mattel to check out. And then the other companies would have tech stuff. You'd have drones were everywhere. App connected toys were a thing, and I mean, I've been seeing the past few years people putting AI into toys. It's not really taken off because,
No.
The backlash against AI is so strong
Hmm.
right now.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you have tech connected toys, you have to worry about COPA. That's the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act.
Hmm.
So that creates an extra layer because you can't keep any of the info, so your device really can't learn.
Right. Right.
Like, yeah, if it's child's talking to it, it can't hold that thing. It can't hold any personal info from a child. So that's always been like, it's not just that people hate AI. It's like, it's always been a technological, like a quandary for them.
Yeah, of course.
How to navigate all of that. But I've been seeing a lot less of that. We didn't see it at Mattel, and that's why, like, if I wrote something for Engadget, I'd have nothing to write for Engadget. It was like no tech stuff, and we definitely saw that. You mentioning Nintendo is the fact that they can't get the parts. They can't get the parts because all the parts are going to AI.
Hmm.
So that's also a big thing we're seeing. And I think one of the reasons we saw companies not using that much tech is just, the parts are not available.
Yeah.
All of the RAM, all of the GPUs, all of the stuff is going to power Claude and Gemini and all these other ones, things that people don't want. And mind you, I feel like tech toys were always kind of gimmicky anyway. It's always been the low tech stuff that's stuck around. And when they do tech. It's not electronic tech. It's always just really innovative. Like I mentioning the dinosaur, elevator thing we saw where
Yeah.
you crank the tail and it goes up.
Hmm.
And that is still technically, if you want to get into the communications theory of it all, it is still tech. It's
It
just
is.
it's just basic machines,
Right.
simple machines that you learned about in high school, but it's still mechanical. That's still mechanics are still a tech thing.
Well, what does it say too on top of that? That one of the things that was the most awesome for me at the Mattel booth was just the fact that they had Batman movie stuff on display, and that's not toys. That's literally just
Yeah,
like an extra cool thing that they threw in there for people to take a look at. Like,
yeah, so they have one, it caught my eye. I wanted to go look at it. The lady we were with was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, that's there." Like it was like almost an afterthought. She wasn't
yeah.
even thinking we wanted to see that. And I walked up and we realized it wasn't toys, it's just props because there was a big banner above it that they have the license
Hmm.
for the Batman movies and all that. And I think it was just superhero stuff in general.
Yes.
But they have the license and the stuff will be coming out next year. So we'll see it at Toy Fair 2027.
Hmm.
It feels like that's there just to kind of impress retailers. They're like, "Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, are we going to get props that we can sell in our store?"
Hmm.
I mean, that seems to be what they're suggesting, that I can buy plastic replicas
Right.
of a lot of the stuff, the batarangs,
Hmm.
and maybe a role play mask.
Yes.
Which is not really Mattel's thing. That's more of Hasbro's thing, and we'll talk about Hasbro later. But
Oh yeah.
Hasbro does these masks, like you can get the Boba Fett helmet to wear,
Hmm.
or Iron Man. We have a few of those. But yeah, no, that was interesting that they were teasing something else. Like, to why I got the general feeling there wasn't much going on with
Yeah.
Mattel because they had dedicated a chunk of their showroom to just this case that had no toys in it. It was
Hmm.
just a promise of toys to come.
Sure.
Uh, so I mean, I'll wrap up Mattel here just by saying, like, look, it's a lovely booth. I think I complimented them on the design. Everybody was professional. I love talking to toy people.
Sure.
They're great.
Yeah.
But there was that thread of I feel like Mattel is not in a great place, and that's mostly like they had layoffs.
Yes.
I told you they laid off a bunch of people, including Bill Greenan, who was like the lead designer for Barbie. He's
Hmm.
designed a lot of the iconic dolls over the past 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
And they even laid him off. And when you lay off somebody who's that famous among the Barbie community, things are not great in Mattel Town.
Oh, sure. And to bring it back to other stuff, and not to cut you off here, but to tie it in, that I remember there was a lot more DC stuff on display last year than there was this year. This year
Yeah,
they had like 4 action figures on display, and they were all sort of just thrown in there almost as an afterthought. Like, hey, here's the DC stuff that we have, which tells us that there's not a lot to really talk about this year.
Yeah, I think they're just having an off year. We'll see what happens. And again, I think it's more of a sign of the greater issues plaguing the toy industry right now.
Yeah.
Again, we're talking about tariffs. I might as well just throw it out there. Also, the immigration, is also a thing because it was a smaller show.
Yes.
I'd rather go into that a little later in
Sure.
this podcast.
Hmm.
But right now, I think, the toy industry might be in a little bit of a downturn, and it's because of the tariffs, and that's just rippling out. And I feel like Mattel, again, they're in a weird place right now.
Hmm.
Maybe maybe if Masters of the Universe does well, the Matchbox movie does well for them, and we'll see a little bit of an uptick. They also teased, and it made me sad. I hate that the major things that we recall from this spoof are things that are not happening yet.
Yeah.
Because aside from we have Batman toys in 2027, they had a big, the front of the Barbie booth was teasing a new dream house.
Yes.
And that's a big deal. We haven't had a Barbie redesign maybe like 10 years or whatever. And the dream house is a big ticket item. It's one of the marquee items. You think of Barbie, you think of, the dream house, right?
Hmm.
So a redesigned dream house is going to be a big deal, but they don't have it ready yet. They didn't even have like concept designs
No.
or anything. I mean, maybe behind the scenes, maybe in the retailer area, but for public consumption, we have no idea what this is going to look
Sure.
like.
Yeah.
So that's, so everything, Mattel is looking ahead. Everything is forward. I'm trying to be positive here. we don't know what's going to happen next year, but it feels like Mattel's in a little bit there. It's a lull year for them, and and again, I understand that things are a little rough.
Sure.
So we'll see what happens as the year goes on.
Well, let's shift over to day one. Let's shift over to the day that I was there. And for that matter, let's also shift to the layout of Toy Fair itself. As one of the things that we noticed before we get into, booths that we got to visit and stuff like that, one of the things that we noticed is that unlike last year, this year there were a lot more closed off booths. There are a lot more private booths, ones that you had to, book an appointment for specifically in order to see their new stuff, because there wasn't nearly as much public facing as there was in previous years. There were also a whole bunch of booths that either had different locations or the layout of their booth was different, whether it be bigger or smaller. For the most part, smaller, as we'll talk about when we get the Funko and stuff like that. But Toy Fair itself, because of this, or just because of where the industry is right now, that Toy Fair itself was also a bit smaller this year, as the entire back of the floor on the bottom was not being utilized. There was a whole section that was just completely dead space this year, as opposed to previous years where they were using the whole damn Javits for the most part.
Yeah. So yeah, I it's funny. I said I was going to bring it up later, but now I guess it's later.
Yeah.
So the Toy Fair always usually has the upstairs. Hold on, I'm trying to remember the levels. 1, 2, I guess level 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, level 3 is the main exhibition hall. If you go to New York Comic Con, that's where they do their exhibition hall. And then they have the downstairs area usually. And I know it kind of blew your mind. It was in 2023 when we went and we were walking and we passed by what would normally be the stage. And it kind of weirded you out because we're not used to just being in that room when it wasn't like the Empire stage closed off with the walls and chairs and everything.
Yeah.
This year, it was when we were walking around level 3, we're walking around the main exhibition hall, and I was like, wow, these people are normally downstairs. This booth is normally downstairs. This booth is normally downstairs.
Yep.
And then we kind of saw when we did go downstairs how a big chunk of it was curtained off, and there was just nothing there. There were a lot less vendors at this year's Toy Fair. And I think it's very telling. When I walked by, there was the China Pavilion was smaller.
Yeah.
If everything's smaller, of course the China Pavilion is going to be smaller.
Yeah, of course.
I walked by the International Pavilion, which I guess is everybody who's not Chinese, and there were only, as far as I could count, 6 booths. And one of those booths was Nuremberg Toy Fair. So it wasn't even like an exhibitor. It was just, like come to our Toy Fair also. Like it's not a toy company. So that was very telling to me that there's probably a lot of people who couldn't make it to Toy Fair because of visa issues.
Yeah.
That's bad. Like, again, well, let's be honest. We're hippie liberal podcasts. This is, I can't be politically neutral when talking about this anyway, is the fact that business is not good. The tariffs were not good for business. The immigration issues we are dealing with right now are not good for business.
Yeah. You
can be a soulless husk who cares more about capitalism than anything else, and you'd still have to admit that right now it's a shit show.
Yeah. And frankly, like it was on display throughout at Toy Fair, because I just felt like there was less variety along with everything else. Like I remember, from the September year, which is no indication because that was a weird Toy Fair, but from the September year where we did have stuff in what would have been usually the Empire stage, like there was an entire section for learning toys, and it was huge. Like you could go through and you could find like this, like all these educational stuff that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. And walking through this year, there was maybe like one aisle worth of that, and then the next aisle would be all like amusement toys and stuff like that, because there's just fewer people willing to be on display at an industry expo like this. Because again, we cannot stress enough, Toy Fair is an industry show that we are just lucky enough to attend as press. They're selling their goods here to to people willing to purchase them, and they're also just there to show their space in the industry. And clearly the industry has gotten smaller, and that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, toys are an evergreen product because there's always going to be children who need to play.
Of
I
course.
mean, I
Yeah.
think like kid adults are there, they're holding up a big portion of the industry right now. But, grown-ups, we will be fine
Hmm.
if we do not have a new supply of like Funko Pops every year. But like kids are only kids once. They're only 5-year-olds once. They're only 6-year-olds once. That year is gone. It can't wait for the tariffs to go away. They
Yeah.
can't wait for the economy to toughen up. Like a kid is still a kid no matter what.
Hmm.
So toys are an evergreen category. So it's weird, not even weird. It is just sad to realize this, like, if this is how the toy industry looks, I don't even want to know what's going on with other industries.
Yeah.
We did see a lot less variety, and that could just, like I said, that could also not even just be the tariffs or everything. Like I said, the immigration, like the people, if they have to come from a country and they have trouble getting the visas, or they
Hmm.
might just not want to come.
Yeah.
This isn't just Toy Fair. Like other shows like GDC have
Hmm.
already had people saying, I'm not going. This is the biggest show in my industry, and I am not going. But yeah, it's just there's that climate of fear, and it's like it's just hurting everything. And you're right, like we saw again, saw a lot of less tech toys.
Hmm.
There was a lot less variety. I did see some neat stuff. I went back down to the bottom floor and I
Hmm.
looked around a little bit, but it just felt off. I also saw a lot less, and I don't think of this, like I personally do not care because like the reseller booths,
Hmm.
like I always wondered, like, oh, we saw this booth that has a bunch of Mattel stuff, but it's not Mattel. And I realized that's basically like a distributor that does for like dollar
Hmm.
stores and everything. They're
Yeah.
probably buying a lot of excess
Oh,
inventory and
sure. Yeah.
distributing it to dollar stores. That's what
Hmm.
those booths are. I didn't see that many of those. I
Yeah.
feel like you used to see a lot of them, and I saw barely any of those. I don't even know what the dollar stores are doing right now in terms of getting their toys. Maybe
They're
they just use the
I don't.
same vendors.
Walgreens definitely has a smaller selection of toys than they used to have, and I mean that's just an indication in general that maybe it wasn't the best idea to have exclusive Funko Pops to Walgreens, but still, even back then, yeah, I mean, and for years you'd be able to walk into Walgreens and get yourself like a travel Connect Four or something like that, and that's less the case with stores like that, let alone the dollar stores and situations like
Well,
that.
it's. I mean, the thing is, it's disappointing to be like, well, I mean, because Walgreens should be there. They should sell toys,
Yeah.
especially in a climate where we don't have as many toy stores.
Hmm.
When Toys R Us was murdered, let's not just say it went out of business. It was murdered by private equity.
Yes, it was.
And that took away a huge venue of, an outlet for toys. Walmart is one of the biggest, if not the biggest seller of toys in the country.
Hmm.
Amazon is still a big vendor. And again, these aren't dedicated toy stores. Like Walgreens are everywhere. So it makes sense, that you can go in, like you said Travel Connect 4. Yeah, maybe you're on a road trip and you're like, oh, there's a Walgreens. I'm going to buy a few bottled drinks and we'll buy a little travel game, for when the next rest stop so that the
Hmm.
kids don't kill me, because even kids get tired of looking at tablets.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm definitely, that's a whole other podcast. Definitely
Oh,
noticing. I feel
please.
like the kids are rebelling. It's lovely,
Yeah,
honestly.
it kind of is. Yeah, and I see that as well just from my interaction with kids. But let's talk a little bit about the booths we got to visit, which will then
Yeah, well,
also kind of piggyback into some of the private booth situations.
yeah,
that
to
we
talk
got
about
into.
the show floor layout, though, when you said that there were some major changes.
Yeah.
In previous years and years, before COVID, Hasbro was usually an offsite
Hmm.
booth.
Yeah.
You would go to the Times building. You have to obviously get an appointment because it's not Toy Fair connected.
Hmm.
And you would just get taken through the showroom at the Times building. And then last year they were on the show floor all the way on the north end
Hmm.
of the exhibition hall. This year they were completely opposite end.
Yeah.
If again, for those who have been to New York Comic Con, and you're facing the exhibition when you first walk into the convention center, Hasbro used to be last year would have been on your right. Now it's on your left. That threw me off because I walk in, I'm like, oh good, I'm on time for my appointment. I don't have to walk to the opposite end.
Hmm.
But it was also weird because there was a feeling they always kind of want to be kind of isolated because it is appointment only.
Sure. Yeah.
You can't, and the mind you would say pre-appointment. You have to sign up for the appointment before the show. You can't sign up at the show.
Right.
A lot of booths, they're very generous with that. We'll walk up and say, hey, how do we see the booth? Can we sign up for an appointment? And they'll slot you in. That's how I was able to see Funko
Hmm.
because I didn't actually bother with an appointment for Funko because previous years the booth was open.
Yeah.
So it just felt like an unnecessary, block of time. Like if I can just go take a quick look and walk out.
Hmm.
It's a general issue I have with a lot of booths where they're like, "Oh, you need to book an appointment," and then you show up and you realize the booth was open anyway.
Yeah. Well,
You could have just showed up at any time.
with Funko, it was closed off because of how much smaller it was. I have a feeling because there really wasn't a lot of room to walk around, even just from what I saw. I mean, you got to explore it on the Sunday when I wasn't there, but it was at least half the size of what it was in previous years, if not even more so. Because I remember there was one year where they literally had two separate booths that were connected, and this year it was just the size of one booth, essentially.
It was there were I think the reason for closing it off. I mean, we can go into what was actually in the booth and everything later, but the reason for closing it off, I think, was that they crammed a lot more into that small space and they didn't do display cases. Everything was on the shelves. And the problem is when you're such a popular brand, because they are still a popular brand despite their recent financial issues. You have a lot of people coming to the booth. You can't control if people take stuff or break stuff, knock stuff over. Like that's always an issue with these shows. It is why I think a lot of the booths are closed off now because they were getting a lot of looky-loos who weren't going to give them any kind of real valuable press coverage. I know a guy who created a website just so he could get a press badge to Toy Fair. Because Toy Fair is weird. Toy Fair is both very strict and very lenient because they want all this documentation to go to Toy Fair. But then, like again, I just mentioned somebody who just made a website. Like I don't think they really follow up and like verify a lot of the stuff, and it's rough. I think that's a problem with a lot of shows. They really don't know how to vet press properly.
Sure.
Especially now in the age of social media, anyone can claim to be press, right?
Yep.
And mind you, Toy Fair has taken care of that by having an influencer badge is like a separate thing.
Right.
Which is why you now see children at Toy Fairs. It used to be very strictly 18 and up because they don't want people bringing their kids because kids don't respect that it's a business space.
Yeah.
You see, I know that some of the smaller events we go to and they complain. They're like, yeah, the kids are always pulling stuff off the table. That's why they have to glue everything down. So like, that's why I think, yeah, like a lot of the booths were just closed off. It's like if they were smaller, especially so they don't have to worry about, little hands grabbing things. The one thing I noticed about it, even the reason that last year we were told by some of the vendors, the reason why the booths had to be open is that was a rule that specifically said a certain percentage had to be open to the public. And some of the booths still kind of followed that. Like Lego had a closed off room. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
And then they had a public area that anybody could walk into without an appointment. Yeah, this year, one trend I noticed is, and I wonder if this was a revised rule, was that a lot of these closed off booths had what I would call Instagram spots.
Yes.
Like Lego is a good example. They had the closed off booth, but the front, or like when you walk in, the front looked like a storefront, and it had little like a bistro table and chairs and a bench that you could just sit down in front of it. And they had all the Lego flowers, again, like a flower box. And it was very cute. And it's, you can rest, but also it makes for a nice photo. Squishables had like a Ferris wheel with little Squishables in the cars going round and round and round. And they had like a throne that you could sit in for a photo opportunity. I saw like a Hello Kitty photo area. I know you took a photo with like a Spider-Man mannequin.
Yep.
So everybody had like little photo booths. If it was a closed off booth, you would see little slots and they would have these photo areas. And I think I can't imagine them doing that just to be nice. I would not be surprised if we found out that Toy Fair said you have to do something because otherwise you are creating dead space.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And there would have been tons of dead space. The other slightly more cynical part of me wonders if these areas, or at least some of these areas, especially like the ones that were like, Spin Master and stuff like that, because there was tons of Spin Master space that wasn't the actual Spin Master booth. They had standees and stuff like that up. Part of me wonders if that's also there because of the fewer amount of actual booths that they had, and they had to fill that space with something. So why not have it be a Hello Kitty bed that you can lay down in and take a picture, rather than a literal empty space in the middle of your floor.
I mean, the thing is it just takes away from your interior space, which I'm sure they could have used. I think it is there might be a rule, but it's also just Instagrammable.
Mm-hmm.
People posting pictures. It reminds people that you exist as a brand that is very conscious of a lot of companies
Yeah.
to be aware. And like, because people love that stuff. Everybody does it for the gram. Even when they don't have a gram, they do it for the gram.
Yep. Yep.
I've gotten, I mean, I still have an Instagram account. I just don't use it as much. I mean, that was one of the trends I noticed was just a lot of like Instagram spots. I know that on Friday before the show opened, we popped by, there was a Lego area
Mm-hmm.
in front outside of the, I don't know what you want to call it, outside of the exhibition hall.
Yeah.
Like before you had to show your badge to go in. Like if this were Subway, it would be outside fare control,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for all my transit nerds out there. You know, like anybody could have walked off the street and checked out this little booth area. And we saw they had like every Star Wars minifig that had ever been made
Yeah.
on display. So
Yeah.
that was cool. We got to check that out before the show because it was already up. Like the booth was still, parts of it were still needed to be assembled, but that part was up. So we enjoyed looking at that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Hasbro,
Yep.
which was a closed off booth. I don't know if they had any Instagrammable spots on the outside. It was very hectic
Yes,
on the
it was.
outside.
Yeah.
Like more so than I think any other exhibitor that I visited that weekend.
Again, the location I think added to that because, like we've said, a different location. It was a lot more cramped in that general area, at least on the outside and on the inside, for that matter, because they had to cram all their stuff into a smaller space than they've had in previous years.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I've always found Hasbro a little claustrophobic because it's like it reminds me of IKEA, honestly. Like the thing about IKEA, and I don't know if I've ever talked about this before. It's designed almost like a video gamey way.
Yeah.
Where if you decide to go through the showroom at IKEA, there is a path. They actually have a line on the floor. They show you the map with the line. And you go through and you're led on this winding journey through all these different areas. You know, you get to see the kitchens and the living rooms and the dining areas and the office. Each area is themed. It has the little model rooms that you can check out. You can't actually buy anything yet. It's just there to show off. You know, you just need to note down what the numbers are and then you go get them once you get to the actual warehouse. And then there's like those little shortcuts that you take in IKEA so that if you've already been to IKEA and you just want to get to a certain part of the showroom, there's little hidden doors. And those are specifically designed as hidden because they know it feeds the dopamine in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the Hasbro booth kind of feels to me because it is a very linear path that kind of just winds through all these different little areas. Like the Mattel showroom is just bays, right? Like it's like, there's a central aisle and then each side has different bays for all the different brands, Hot Wheels and, WCW and Uno and Masters of the Universe. And then on your right, you might see it'll be like Barbie and then American Girl, and Little People or whatever, right? But Hasbro, and that's part of the reason it has to be a tour. Like you can't just wander it on your own. They have to lead you through because it is just this windy little thing. Like, I mean, mind you, we still encountered bottlenecks. Even
sure.
With our lovely tour guide, Kris, was just a wonderful human being. And he was very helpful and kept us on schedule and answered our questions and deferred to his colleagues when there was something he couldn't answer. And, we did pretty good on that, I think.
Yeah.
So how do you feel in general about Hasbro's offerings this year, Ian?
I think Hasbro had a lot more to offer than Mattel. And there were some really cool things on display, especially for Transformers. Not anywhere near as much Marvel as there was last year, just to continue the trend of Marvel and DC not having that much new to really throw out there. There was a couple of new Marvel Legends toys. Last year, they had that really cool, like squeeze it and it transforms, Spider-Man figure and just a lot more stuff on display in general for the Marvel Legends brand than was on display here. But tons of, Transformers, tons of Play-Doh, some really cool Crossfire stuff, which was unexpected. Crossfire is coming back on the market for the first time in years, and a lot of great, Monopoly and things along those lines. Yeah. So, overall, not nearly as much as last year, but I did feel like I had a better experience at Hasbro than I did Mattel.
Yeah, so I mean, a few standouts. I will point out, like Marvel, they still have the Marvel Legends, but the thing that stuck out for me was it was more like the little kid toys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think felt more prominent, even if nerds like us are probably gonna be like, "Ooh, Marvel Legends." Like when I think back, I'm thinking more about like the kids' toys, and I do think that's a growth area for them. I know they have the cartoons because there was Spider-Man and Friends, and now there's Iron Man and Friends. Mm-hmm. And, they're selling toys based on both those series, and they are very popular. I know my niece does watch them. She is into them. That's, and she can do the same for DC, though I don't remember really seeing anything DC. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned Transformers. I feel like that was probably one of the bigger things because it is the anniversary of the movie.
Yes.
Which is a movie. I love that movie. I didn't see it in theaters. I did make my mom rent it from the video store like every week, to the point where she actually tried to buy a copy, and then they're like, "Oh, it's $80," and she's like, "Well, nope, I guess not," mm-hmm. because it wasn't actually publicly released. It was just 2 video stores,
right?
So. But they are, you might have seen online, they're doing a apology tour for killing Optimus Prime.
Yep.
Which I'm going to say, I don't need an apology. Look, I was 5, I was 6, when that happened. It was very sad, but I enjoyed the movie anyway. I didn't have develop a complex out of it. But if some people feel like they need an apology tour, I mean, it's very funny. It's a really funny gimmick, I think. They do have the big. I mean, if Ian wants to pull up a picture of it, they have the what am I said? The Unicron.
Oh, yeah, the Unicron, yeah.
Is it the Unicron? Is that the word I'm looking for?
Let me see if I actually have a picture of that. I don't know if I actually grabbed a picture of Unicron, to be honest with you.
No, Unicron's the dude.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the core.
Yeah. That's right here. You should be seeing it right now, actually. The Matrix. The Matrix.
Matrix. Thank you. The Matrix of leadership.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Again, I know I think I said this podcast is it's a documentation of our ongoing mental decline. Yeah, so what's really cool about this very expensive item, and it's made out of chunky plastic, so it's not like cheap. You're going to spend money on it, but at least it's like good quality plastic.
Yeah.
Is when you pull it open, you pull open the Matrix of leadership, it actually plays the touch.
Yes.
Like, it's not super loud, and they really should have put like a mic or something so you could hear it in the showroom. Mm-hmm. But it'll do that. You got the touch.
Yep.
Because I started singing, and the guy goes, no, you don't have to do that. Watch. And when he pulled it open, it went, you got the touch. You got the power.
It was brilliant. It was a really smart idea, to be honest with you. Yeah, and it just adds to the whole overall experience of it all. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's just it. Is like I got a different vibe off of the continued insistence, the continued going back to the well of Transformers than I did from Masters of the Universe. Mm-hmm. But I think that's also because Transformers has been around, like they've both been around in terms of the year they started, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's the same amount of time. But in terms of being active for all those years, mm-hmm. Transformers has always been more active because they have Generation 1, Generation 2, Generation 3. I mean, you can talk to our friend Kris about, Transformers, and he can go on for hours about, all the different, iterations of Transformers. Where, as 90s kids, you could talk about Beast Machines.
Oh my God, yes. Yep.
And it's been constantly refreshing itself. So I feel like for me it feels less cynical that we're still doing Transformers because it never really went away. Mm-hmm. While Masters of the Universe has ebbed and flowed.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say Transformers, because it's not based around a singular character, even though Optimus Prime lives in all our hearts, he's our truck dad. Like I feel like Transformers at least has that wiggle room where you can pull out other characters and have them become beloved, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought that was cool. Again, I don't need an apology tour, but I am never going to fault Hasbro for doing anything Transformers related.
No question about it. Yeah, and because Transformers is one of those evergreen brands, there's always going to be a new animated series of some sort. There's the comics that are doing really well over in the Energon universe for Image/Skybound right now, and there's movies that are still going to wind up coming out. They are reissuing Transformers the movie to theaters as part of the 40th anniversary, so you will be able to see that in theaters pretty soon, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it's a forever brand. It is definitely something that has bigger legs than Masters of the Universe because it's always been in the public eye in one way or another. It's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's the same thing. Like there's always going to be turtles out there, since it was created basically, and same with Transformers. So absolutely.
Well, I feel like Turtles is definitely also a brand that's been constantly refreshed, and mind you, that's based around the same 4 characters, but I think what helps Ninja Turtles, and I'm sure Raph can either start screaming at his right now as he's listening to this, it has that core, I don't know, je ne sais quoi about it. Like, I think it's just because it constantly refreshed, that no matter how many times you kind of mix up the formula, the same 4 characters plus Splinter. Mm-hmm. Again, this could be a whole separate podcast. I'm not the Ninja Turtles expert here. That's why I'm suddenly blanking out. I'm like, how do I say something smart about Ninja Turtles?
Casey, well, yeah, but there's there have been other styles of animated turtles over the years. Plus, you can make them based on the original comics designs. You can put out any single vehicle you could possibly want to put out for them because they've weirdly had every single type of vehicle. And because there are various designs, you can put out figures for any of those as well. And you can put out Casey Jones, you can put out all the mutants, you can create new mutants, like whatever you want to do for that brand. But it's a lot easier to do that with Transformers when they can literally transform into anything. So
yeah, no, I mean, Transformers is always going to have a space, especially since we're still making cars as a society.
Yeah.
And we're going to have new cars, and whenever you design a new car, you can make a robot that ties into that new car.
The frickin' radio show radio station van that they had on display, like, is a perfect example of things you could do with Transformers that you can't do with Ninja Turtles because, come on, man, it's so cool.
So the radio van that Ian's describing is actually a Stranger Things licensed product.
Yes.
It's the van from the Squawk, the WSQK that Robin and Steve are working at. Mm-hmm. And you have a little transforming van, and it's very cool. Oh, I also saw more Soundwave stuff. I got super excited.
Oh, yes.
New Soundwave. I love Soundwave. Soundwave is my favorite transformer.
Soundwave is the best, and they did have some great Soundwave stuff on display in one form or another. I thought I got a picture of, but I guess maybe I did. Oh, yeah, no, I guess that's the closest I came to getting Soundwave. So yeah, oh well.
Yeah, it's really like, it's a very information dense environment. So we don't always get pictures. We don't always remember every single thing we saw. There's just so much going on.
Yeah,
like Hasbro, I said, it was very dense. There was a lot going on. We played Beyblades a little bit.
Yeah.
Played Crossfire, we saw more KPop Demon Hunter stuff.
Yes, we did. Yep.
I will say they have my favorite KPop Demon Hunter product.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you have the photo of it.
I think I
will pull it up.
I think I do. If not, feel free to pull it up yourself if you have it.
Pulling it up. So they don't have the main license for things like dolls or the action figures because that went to Mattel. So Hasbro got a little creative, and they have KPop Demon Hunter Furbies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Specifically Furblets, which is like their little mini Furby things. And so these were my favorite KPop Demon Hunters toys. They have a Furby version of the Saja Boys and Furby version of Derpy Tiger. And I really, really need the Saja Boy one because it even has the hat, the gat. That's what they're called.
Yep.
I'm a weirdo that knows that the hat is called a gat or got. Sorry to any Korean listeners we might have. I've mangled the name. But so like Hasbro kind of had to go kind of off track, off kilter with their stuff a bit. So we had these really cool Furbies. Mm-hmm. They also sell foam replicas of the weapons.
Yes. That I do definitely have a picture of as well. The curved moon sword that they had on display was pretty cool.
No, wrong one.
Here we go. Yep, got
Oh,
it.
sorry, I don't need to. Oh yeah, you're on now. Right?
Yeah, I got it. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And
Okay, yeah, no. So they had, they did prop weapons then, and mind you, that's the thing that Hasbro specializes in. Like, because we saw more Star Wars lightsabers. They've been doing that for 25 years, 26 years now. I know I have the Qui-Gon lightsaber from the original run back in, 99. So,
yeah.
but yeah, they had the prop weapons, and and they also sell the wands, the fandom wands.
Yep.
Like if you go to a K-pop concert, you might be able to buy a light up wand to celebrate, your pop idol or whatever. And they had them in the movie. It's like that was one of the jokes. Is like, I think a kid threw the Huntrix one on the floor because they were now into Saja boys. That was supposed to be the symbolism there.
Yep.
And of course, when the Huntrix succeeds in the end, all the Saja boys and all the wands end up on the floor.
Yep.
But you can buy those wands, and I would totally get a Saja boy wand because you're my soda pop.
I like how they also had us voting either Huntress or Saja boys at the booth itself, which was a nice, fun little added extra there. And if I remember correctly, the Saja boys were winning over Huntrix.
Yeah, I voted for Saja boys. I'll admit that. I like my bad boys. I am really curious when they make the sequel what they're going to do, considering the Saja boys are a very plot specific thing. Like, it'll feel weird to not have them in the movie. Maybe they'll give us another K-pop group for the Huntrix to battle against. I don't know. Well, this is years away.
Can we talk about the other two Furbies that were absolutely adorable and licensed that we managed to see? The Yoda Furby, or
not Yoda.
I'm sorry, Grogu. Yes, you're right. It's too tiny to be Yoda, but Grogu, and also the Minion. I actually found to be incredibly adorable with its one eye right there. I think that works really great for the Furby brand, and Minions are always popular, especially with 70-year-old women for some reason. So.
Yeah, we had that discussion. We were just like, what is it with freaking boomers and the Minions? There are people who will post Minions memes who have never seen any of the Despicable Me or the Minions movies. It's really funny to me.
Yeah, I know.
No, yeah, I thought that was like, yes, Furby is still around. You can buy a Furby that does all the Furby things. I know last year they showed off DJ Furby, which I have one in this apartment somewhere. But that was what stuck out to me, the little Furblets, and they had one of Grogu. There were a lot of Mandalorian Grogu toys in the Hasbro booth.
Yes.
They're definitely pushing for that. When we saw the Star Wars figures, I would say there wasn't anything that really popped at me, but it's obvious like we are pivoting towards promoting this one movie. I think there was the Sigourney Weaver's character had a nice figure. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, he brought it up. Thank you, Ian. I love Sigourney Weaver. I did not realize from the trailer, like watching the trailer, I did not realize that she's an X-Wing pilot. So it's even cooler to me.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and they actually look like the actors. And again, this goes also with, we talk about the Marvel Legends, like, and the kidult thing is like, these are toys really meant for adults.
No question.
Because they still sell the little ones, which are play line, as you would call them. Like, those are the terms now, is play line versus collectors.
Yeah. Yep.
So they do have playline toys still, but the ones that are really impressive looking are obviously going to be the ones for collectors. And they were a lot of people also had, if it wasn't KPop Demon Hunters, you had Mandalorian Grogu stuff. I still cannot believe the movie is called Mandalorian and Grogu.
I know.
Considering how much people hate the name Grogu. Even my mom refuses to acknowledge it. And I said, that's the name. I don't know why they picked that name, but it was going to be weird no matter what.
Because they started calling him Baby Yoda and they couldn't accept anything else. Like, that's it, Yeah,
I don't think he's not. We don't even know the name of the species, which is one of the funnier things about Star Wars to me.
Yep.
Is that in a universe where every background character will have a name and a backstory, that they just refuse to tell you the name of Yoda's species. We've met Yoda, we've met Yaddle, who was also on the Jedi Council, and we've met Grogu, and it's like they do not have a name. Yeah. I mean, it might be because they're almost extinct, so maybe nobody cares. They're just the green dudes. I don't know.
They also had magic stuff on display, and obviously the Marvel tie-in magic stuff, which we talked about a little bit last year as it was starting to launch. But one thing in particular, this Marvel Age box of Magic the Gathering is it just made my nerd heart so big. That they were able to pull that off. It's got that nice old school cover to it. It has frickin' Forbush Man in the corner box, just to throw that in for good measure. And it includes one collector booster inside of it as well. But definitely pimping that as huge for them, and it really was a really smart tie-in to have with Magic to go into the Marvel stuff and get those fans interested in Magic that may not have been interested in it beforehand, or ones that were also interested in Marvel. So
yeah. Well, so Magic has been the money printer for Hasbro for a while now. It's reached the point where dedicated Magic players are actually starting to complain about the cash grabs.
Of course.
Because they do the secret lair stuff, and the secret lair stuff has gotten out of control. There are so many releases now. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're right that it can bring people in who don't normally play Magic the Gathering. It can get them interested. And ultimately, Hasbro does not care if they actually play with these cards, as long as they are spending the money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does refresh, like, Magic and a lot of other TCGs. That's how they stay relevant for so long. Is their again? I've mentioned this is going to be a thread, I think, throughout this entire tour fair, is that constant refreshing of brands. And the licensed product for Magic is just a way to kind of refresh the brand, because Magic is about a universe. Like, it has its own world building, and they did push some of that. I don't know if you took pictures of the specials of the sets that just came out. The light and the dark thing.
Oh yeah, I don't think I actually grabbed any photos of those, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a Magic player. That's Brandon in this crowd here.
Yeah. Well, the thing that we are interested in, again, unfortunately, they really didn't have much to talk about, but that's a whole other issue that, may wind up eventually, getting light, is that there really wasn't a lot of Dungeons and Dragons to talk about this toy fair. They had the Stranger Things stuff on display, but other than that, nothing really new to really discuss this year on that front. Hopefully there'll be more to discuss in the next year. So
I just wanted to try to remember the line I'm thinking of that they just came out with, and they had a bunch of stuff, was the Lorwyn Eclipsed.
Okay.
If you were not a follower of Magic, you might be familiar with this only because the promotional video was done by the Jim Henson Company. With the puppets, and it was like a rock musical. It was very cute. You should watch it. It's on YouTube. Maybe we'll throw it in the show notes. In terms of D&D, you're right. Like, they didn't have much going. We've talked about this. We'll talk about it again. And a lot of it is like they're in a flux situation, because we've just launched this new version, right?
Yeah.
Which we're calling 5.5. Because it's not 6th edition, because it's not a full break.
Yeah.
And mind you, it's interesting, because it isn't even really 5.5, because the jump from D&D 3.0 to 3.5 was a lot bigger. And this is still kind of backwards compatible, the new D&D 2024.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, the big thing is they didn't have that many books. They're not really teasing any new books. I haven't gotten any new products aside from the Dragons Delves supplement.
There was literally an article today, as we record this, on Variety with their roadmap for 2026. So I'll take a screen share now of what their upcoming roadmap is. But yeah, there's only a few things on here, and a bunch of things that are listed as to be announced. This is what we got. So basically, a couple of new sets, season of horror, season of magic, season of champions, and then some key events at different cons and stuff like that. So really not that much on the actual roadmap.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like, I think you said, I mean, it's definitely tied into the fact we no longer have the two head honchos. We no longer have Crawford or Perkins at the helm, because they're very lovely people. They saw the launch of D&D 2024 through, and then they decided to move on to something else. And I mean, they can say we just wanted a new challenge. We do know that there are things going on at Hasbro, like behind the scenes. It's been a bit of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it, so we can see that because we remember a few years ago the whole thing. It was, oh my God, it was 2023, so it was 3 years ago
Oh yeah.
when they were going to change the open gaming license. I know
Mm-hmm.
Ian's not as familiar with this. Some of our listeners might not be as familiar with this, but the thing is, since D&D 3.0 or so, they had switched to an open gaming license where things like the basic rules were just open to use.
Mm-hmm.
There were, and you can make products for D&D without getting a D&D license.
Yeah.
You can't put the mark on your book because that's the trademark is still with Hasbro, but you can make things that are fully compatible, and you can put the open gaming license in your book, and you can also license the D20 stamp for your book without even saying it's D&D, but you can say it's a D20 book. And they were going to start charging people who did a certain volume of sales.
Oy.
And that's where, things just started to get messy because it's like the popularity of D&D, the recent popularity has come out of the fact of so many people building upon it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Critical Role, all of these live play series have definitely helped. Acquisitions Inc. and Dimension 20,
Mm-hmm.
The Adventure Zone.
Yep.
And in that way, that's transformative work that should be covered under the license. And the thing is, when you start saying, oh, no, we're going to actually start making people pay, that immediately brings into question whether or not you can continue to do things like live plays.
Right.
Never mind the people who were making supplements. And some of the live plays were also making supplements because there were at least two books that were based in the world, that Critical Role that Matt Mercer created.
Right.
I think, that you could get. Ac Inc. book was an official book, so that was never really an issue for them because Acquisitions Inc. started as a D&D sponsored podcast.
Right.
But everybody was making their own products around it. Like the fact that, and I think that's what was bothering Hasbro is people were making money off of what they still considered their IP.
Yeah.
Even though Critical Role had built its whole universe out and they were able to make an animated series out of it.
Yep.
And that's not dependent on the rules set at all. I know this is becoming a little bit off topic, but in general, like D&D's had a few weird years because that happened. And I know there's been more pressure to make more money, and they don't like the fact that people are making money that they do not get a cut of. They've been trying to push people towards D&D Beyond. Yeah. Because then you pay for a subscription as opposed to just buying the book and then that's it. Because I think it does bother them that a lot of the D&D players aren't really spending money on D&D. It's the DMs who are spending most of the money.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't need money to play in a D&D game. And I'm sure that bugs the shit out of them. But the thing is, the fact that it's free for most people is what made it so popular. It's cheap entertainment, and I know they also know that that's also the thing that hampers is the growth is the fact that you need a DM to run the game. So they were also looking into AI DMs, which I don't think that would ever work because D&D players are crazy.
Yes.
All role players are crazy, but like D&D is the gold standard for just sheer amount of insanity. We all know the story of the Dread Gazebo.
Oh.
Like I don't understand. I don't know if an AI could really fathom that the players are so stupid they don't know what a gazebo is.
Yeah. Well, and on top of the very weird intricacies of playing D&D. Now, I mean, you talked about Critical Role, so of course I got to bring up stuff like Daggerheart, which are complete competitors now to D&D, which have been launched. Building upon what you were talking about, wanting to make their own money, and what easier way to do that than to literally create your own game, which has elements of D&D but is not D&D. It is its own unique game. And now even Acquisitions Inc. is playing the Daggerheart system.
Switching over.
So, yeah.
Well, it was always gonna be a little awkward for Acquisitions Inc. if they kept playing with the same DMs, but those DMs don't work on Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, well, let's just say GM because your DM is specific to Dungeons and Dragons. You'd say Game Master for any other game.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, we can do a whole podcast. I'm sure Brandon's like, oh, we got to do an episode where we do talk about D&D.
Oh, sure, yeah,
and
absolutely.
how it sucks the air out of the room for the whole industry, and how people keep trying to make D&D do things it was not designed to do. including Hasbro. I think Hasbro wants it to be that one size fits all game, and that doesn't do anyone any good. It doesn't do
Yeah.
the game any good.
No, it really
But
doesn't.
anyway, yeah, like it's in a weird place right now because yeah, like I said, they've been trying to draw money out of it. They were working on that virtual tabletop, and that failed.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a bad idea, it's just
Not bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
it requires a lot of resources, and I don't think they really wanted to pay for the development. And mind you, it's not just getting it developed, it's continuing support of the product once it's out there.
Right.
And I think when you come from a toy-oriented business, you're used to just make the product, get it out there. Make a new product, get it out there. Like
Yeah.
you don't have to think about it. When you're doing something like a live service, like live services, yeah, that's video gaming.
Yeah.
That's not the toy industry. They're connected, the toy industry and the video game industry, but they are not the same thing. And
Sure.
having to, support a product over years and years and years. It's another reason I think there's a leaning away from tech because tech products have to be supported.
Yeah.
And, again, when your toys, you don't, it's not like you're out cold once you buy, like if I buy a Barbie doll, it's not like I can get no support from Mattel, but it's much less because usually the support would be like, oh, there was no shoes in the box, we'll just send you some shoes. Like it's not a big deal.
Right.
Like it doesn't require a whole staff, like hundreds of people. It's maybe just a small phone line.
Well, building upon the, not the tech angle, but the toy angle, and the simplicity of it all. I think one of the coolest things that we saw on display at the Hasbro booth, I didn't think I'd say these words, was Connect 4. The redesign for the Connect 4 board. It basically combines the old school travel Connect 4 you would find with a bigger board, makes it completely compact and easy to take with you, and even adds in something as cool as a score tracker on top of it, and it streamlines the board, it streamlines the experience. Even the tokens themselves, the playing pieces, the checker pieces, are unique and have the 4 logo on them now. This is a really cool redesign of Connect 4 that I am all for.
I mean, I'm not a big Connect 4 fan. It's not that I didn't enjoy the game, but I didn't feel as excited as you did. But I think I like redesigns. I think last year's Operation redesign was excellent.
I agree.
Because the thing is, they turned it into a travel game. So it was a foldable board, but when you folded it up, it looked like a CPR kit.
Yes.
Like a crash kit, I think, basically. Like one of those little red cases, and you see the paramedics running them, and they open them up, and they've got the paddles and all this stuff. That's the way they designed it, and I thought that was very cool. And I think I did put it in the Engadget gift guide because I liked the redesign. I thought it was very clever. And that's just it. Is like Hasbro knows where its bread is buttered, and one of them is in its portfolio of board games, which is interesting because like Mattel has games. I mean, they own Milton Bradley.
Yeah.
But the only thing we really saw was Uno. Uno's like their big thing. And mind you, Uno is eternal and everybody has an Uno deck and everybody has nearly wanted to murder a cousin over, a reverse card at some point in your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a pretty big area for the board games. So we took a look at some of that stuff. And yeah, like I know that the Connect 4 really got you excited, but there was some other cool stuff. Yeah, 'cause they're still trying to expand. Served. We saw that. I barely remember what those. Yeah, turn your life into a game one card at a time.
Basically.
Oh, it's one of those like background games where you're not really just sitting down to play it, but you can like play it over time. So the idea is it's something you can bring along like at a road trip or at a party.
Yeah,
and you
just
do these little tasks
play the entire
throughout.
time, basically. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, which is a cool idea. I think gamifying just your life. I know I'm not going to say gamification, but what this reminded me of, now that you've filled it in a little bit for me, Ian, is there used to be there was a book and a website, Tiny Games, which was done by a company called Hide and Seek, based in the UK. And I know that when we went to PAX, they used to have these banners with these little mini games that you could play, like, oh, do this while you're waiting online, gamify it. One of the people at Hide and Seek was Holly Gramazio, who's kind of well known for that. She's a game designer I really admire. So Served is very similar to that. And I think I mentioned that to our guide. And he's just like, oh, yeah, I think he was familiar with it, which was kind of nice. Like I said, it's always great when you get a contact who really knows their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
And then, Crossfire, as we mentioned previously, is back. So any of you guys who have had the Crossfire theme stuck in your head since the 90s, you will have it restuck in your head, as I'm sure you'll start seeing advertisements for it again.
And we could pivot to Spin Master right now if you want to.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Spin Master, they had a Rubik's thing, which was a lot like Simon, where you had to match the colors that came up on the device accordingly. So it was a nice fun game that I could see kids being into, and maybe even adults who are already addicted to their Rubik's Cube who may want to give it a go. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I will say that I liked the energy of the Spin Master, the booth, the most. Like, everybody is, I mean, again, I have nothing bad to say about anybody I really deal with at Toy Fair, but like Spin Master just has like a party atmosphere inside the booth. It can be crowded, but it doesn't feel cramped the way Hasbro's booth had the sort of like, it was a little winding corridor. Spin Master's a little more wide open. And I mean, that also kind of reflects where the companies stand in terms of, I think, how much they make. Because it blew my mind when I realized the Spin Master was one of the top toy companies in the world.
Yeah.
Like, number one is still Lego, but like 2 through 4 kind of jockey around. And Spin Master, like, I had never heard of Spin Master until maybe 20 years ago. And then now we realize like they're huge, and the booth kind of reflects that. But it has such a great atmosphere, and they have so many different sub brands. It was really exciting. And remind you, they've had licenses over years, though I don't really remember too many of their licenses from this year.
Well, the one thing that really drew us there in the first place, and we had to wait for its birth, as it was gonna happen. The Yoshi that was on display was easily my favorite thing in the entire booth. We had to wait it out because there was a bigger party than us that was looking to see the hatching of the Yoshi egg and then the interaction with said Yoshi. It was really freaking cool. Like, that was easily one of my favorite parts of the entire experience. And they also had another hatchable at their booth as well, that was a little bit more of a like pour water on it, and it winds up eventually hatching.
Yeah, it was the primal hatch, I think is the name of the line.
Yes.
So for context, Spin Master is hatchables. I mean, they were already big before Hatchimals, but you remember when Hatchimals came out, that exploded. It was crazy. And they still do Hatchimals. Yeah. But they've taken the basic technology of the Hatchimals, and let's be honest, they're making boys' toys now. Yeah. Because Hatchimals always felt more girl-oriented, because they are nurturing toys where you're like cuddling with it and singing it and playing with it, and it's always pink and blue and purple. And then, but now they're doing Primal Hatch, which is like dinosaurs, and we saw one in a previous toy fair that like hatched out of the egg. I know I got a video of that, but I'm not posting it or on this at all. This new one was a little crazy because it's another surprise motherfucker moment.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. You pour the water in, and it takes a few seconds as it gets to its point, but you start seeing it start to turn like red on the inside, as now for some reason the video is buffering right when I want it to actually play. There we go. And then as it gets further along, the water starts bubbling, and then the egg itself will wind up hatching shortly thereafter that. I'm going to go a little bit further into the video here so you can see it happen. Unless this was the time that didn't actually wind up working, but let's
yeah,
say.
we actually had to watch 2 demonstrations because the first one kind of petered out.
Oh, there we go. Yep.
Yeah, I know. Again, it's just like, surprise, motherfucker. It's like this little shark just popped out of the egg. Normally, again, it's very gentle, like it taps at the egg, and the egg cracks and it kind of emerges, and it's very cute and very baby-like. And this was like, I'm an alien, I'm gonna eat you.
Yeah, it's just a really cool concept and experience, and if I remember correctly with this one, it's one that you can repeat. So like you can put it back in there and then redo the process. So it's not just a one and done experience like some of the other ones are. So
Yeah, I've always wondered about that because like it's a cool idea. So many toys these days. Anybody who has kids knows that a lot of toys are about the unboxing at this point now. And that is what Hatchimals were. It was like about that experience of watching it hatch. And you had a nice toy when you were done, but like the major appeal of buying it was that initial hatching. So things that you can repeat and do again, I know that's good for parents who are looking to save some money, to get the most bang for their buck.
Yep.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, they had the hatching Yoshi again. Like since Hatchimals did so well for them, they're definitely trying to expand and use that technology elsewhere.
Yeah.
The other thing that stuck out for me, besides the hatching toys, I don't know what you're pulling up on this screen share.
I'm just I'm just pulling up Yoshi, and for one thing, shockingly, yours won't pop out of a pipe like this when you do purchase it, but it just the entire like general premise of a Yoshi that hatches from an egg is just absolutely cute. And once it happens, you tap it a little bit and you wiggle it, and then he starts breaking out from the shell, and you get to then interact with your baby Yoshi from start. And then it'll interact kind of similar to like a Furby will. Like it's nothing like, hyper advanced, but they really have advanced in the execution most definitely on these interactive toys over the years, without even having to use stuff like AI in the process. So,
yeah, no, it's just general sensors. It's just responding to touch and lights and all that. I think this is very funny with stuff like Primal Hatch or this Yoshi that they took, again, what are girls' toys and gave them a boy sheen. It's like that very subtle teaching boys how to be caregivers without being very overt. Because the product category, I've mentioned this before, it's called nurturing toys.
Yes.
And nurturing toys, you immediately hear that word and you're like, well, that's a girl's toy. But they're like sneaking nurturing stuff into boys' brands, or what are thought of as boys' brands. Because Mario shouldn't be a boys' brand. It's all gender. It like even in its aesthetics, I never really think of Super Mario as being just a boys' thing, but it's because video games, it's really messed up. But
yeah.
It's just very funny because I'm wondering, like, are we creating a whole generation of caring, loving daddies out of these toys?
I hope so.
I already think our generation is doing much better on the parenting front. Like, there's so many just kinder, more involved parents in general. It's very nice. Yeah. But yeah, I had and since we're talking about nurturing toys, I don't know if you have a photo of it, but my favorite was actually the Bitsies.
Oh yeah. I didn't get. You mean the vegetables, or is that something else?
No. Okay, wait. Let me pull this up. So one of the things that Spin Master has been doing, and I found out from just doing some research and everything, that it's actually a Tomy thing that they picked up. Oh, actually, no, there are multiple nurture, like virtual pets, right? We all know Tamagotchi. And a few years ago, Spin Master one day brought over this thing called Puni Runes, where you put like your finger in and you like can pet pet like a little creature in a room. And that's a Takara Tomy toy that they brought over. But they have their own thing, which I think they're pushing harder since they own it, called Bitsies, which are these little boxes. They look like a ring box. You might like put an engagement ring in there, but instead you open it up and there's a little animal. And instead of like a screen, what it is it's I forget the name of the technology, but like if you go to like a concert and you buy a little spinny thing, and when you spin it, it displays like an LED thing.
Yeah.
And that's how the Bitsy display works. It's basically a flipper that goes up and down, and you see, and it looks like a little cat or whatever. I have one nearby somewhere, but let's try to keep this audio based as much as possible.
Well, and the interaction is very Tamagotchi like in its execution, essentially. Yeah. No, I remembered the interaction with that in general. It basically just adds some extra elements to it. And here we go.
Yeah, no, this is an old school Bitsy. I don't know. It doesn't really show up on the camera too well.
No, I can see it. I can see it. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
That's just it. I'm trying. Yeah, there we go. I was trying to get that angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody listening to the audio version is just getting the little animal noises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The noises
I'll close it,
themselves
though.
were kind of taken out by the noise suppression, but yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
But anyway, you go back to sleep. Uh, so this is the thing they've been pushing. They even have like a Harry Potter Bitsy, which I personally wish people would stop making Harry Potter toys, but capitalism.
Yes.
So this is one of my favorite toys of the show was that one of the Bitsies they're introducing that's coming out soon is an aquarium.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it if you're watching the video. You can see it. If you're not watching, what it is it's like a little box with a clear front, and you can see there's like little items inside of it to look like an aquarium, and there's a little creature in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe there's like a slot that you can put your hand in and pretend like you're stirring up the water, and it'll react like you're petting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is like my favorite toy. I really like the Bitsies because I like that they're more tactile than Tamagotchis.
Mm-hmm.
They have more simpler controls because Tamagotchi is like the three buttons, and it's basically all menus that you have to navigate with three buttons.
Yeah.
But Bitsy is really just swipe left, swipe right, pat it, shake it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little cool toy. I like this aquarium thing because it'll make it like a nice little display piece. You can put it up on a shelf. It'll be very cute.
Yeah, and it's still interactive, so yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of my favorite things that I think I saw at the Spin Master booth.
Yep.
And and again, I mean, just it's amazing to me that virtual pets are still really big.
Mm-hmm.
Though I kind of understand that, like, if you can't own an actual cat or a dog, or you don't want to have to worry about poop, especially right now, we're since we had the big snow, now that we have the melting of the snow, there's just dog poop everywhere.
Yeah. They had to put up signs in my neighborhood to remind people to please pick up after your dogs because this is getting ridiculous.
I could go on a huge rant about this. I don't understand the logic there because it's like people who normally would pick up the dog poop when it's not snow on the ground don't do it. And I'm like, you're not touching the snow.
I know.
Just like you were never touching the poop. You have the bag, you put the bag, you pick it up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because it's slightly cold on the ground?
Whatever.
Like, I don't know the logic. I do not understand this. This is a rant. I'm sorry. But
yeah.
Anyway, virtual pets are cute.
Yes.
I like Tamagotchis. I think the Puni runes that I mentioned, the ones that you pet, those disturb me because like you put your finger in there, it's like squishy, and I'm like, that's not. Some people don't like that weird sort of texture thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is fairly neutral and cute, and it's one of my highlights. They have other Bitsies too. They have like in the photo that I have displayed, you can see in the corner these little dog houses. Mm-hmm. Which are also cute.
One more Spin Master sting as well on top of what you're talking about here with the Bitsies. This is definitely more for adults. But while we were waiting for the Yoshi to get ready to hatch, we were taken into a back room area and got to experience the game Murder Phone. Which is going to be coming out soon. And it's essentially, without being called Scream the Game, it's Scream the Game. Where your objective is the murderer is calling you on the phone, and you have to complete the objectives that are brought forth to you that your player has. And there's different types of players. Like there's ones that are working with the person who's being attacked, who you're trying to save them. There's others who might be working with the killer. But either way, like your objective is try to save the person within the allotted amount of time that you're given, and then you win the game. But there's an interactive phone that you get to work with that really just adds to the entire process. That I thought this was a really cool concept altogether.
Yeah, so it is the genre of social deduction, which seems to have become a lot bigger in the past few years. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to just say it's because of Among Us. The Among Us was a big part of it. It was already kind of big before that. Yeah. Because like even in like in China, they have the Jubentia games. Mm-hmm. The murder script murder, I think is what they call them.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to find the right window here. There we go. So yeah, like it's social deduction, which means that some people are going to be working against the group, and you have to figure out who it is.
Mm-hmm.
The phone thing is kind of cool. Like it adds that little sort of retro twist. My main criticism, and I told them because they actually had it a modified version that was plugged into a speaker. It was
Yeah.
attached via Bluetooth to a speaker, and we could hear that.
Hmm.
And they did that because it was on the show floor. But I told them, I said, yeah, you might like, what does the volume sound like without the speaker? And
Hmm.
I felt like it could be louder. So
I
hopefully
agree.
they'll take that feedback
Yeah.
because I said, we are old. We are old. Unless it has subtitles,
Hmm.
we have no idea what's going to be said. Like
Yeah.
you're going to, you need to pump that up a little bit.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I thought it seemed like fun. Spin Master is not a company I think of in terms of gaming too much.
Hmm.
So it is kind of cool to see them expand, especially since I mentioned that you have all these big companies, the big four, as I'll think of them,
Hmm.
and two of them, Mattel and Hasbro, do sell games, but that's not something Spin Master has done a lot of.
Yeah.
I mean, and Lego doesn't barely does it at all.
Yeah.
So it'll just be interesting to see if this works for them, and I would love to give it a shot. If anybody from Spin Master is listening, I know we told them at the show we'd actually love to play it, maybe even play it for an episode.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be pretty fun. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, good stuff.
yeah. Yeah, that was
Um,
cool. And mind you, when he says back room, it wasn't like a secret office or
no, no,
anything, but they
no.
decorated the room like it had couches
Hmm.
and it was like blood splatter on the wall. Like so
Yeah.
it was like a themed room to kind of get you into the feel of
Hmm.
the game.
Yeah, and most
Which is
importantly, it was
nice.
a couch that you could sit down on for a little bit. So that was also
Yes,
nice.
couches.
Hmm.
I love couches.
Yep. But that was the bulk of it at Spin Master. The rest of my day was spent walking around, exploring a little bit. Although we don't have any photos of it, but we can explain our experience with it a little bit. The Lego booth, as that one was, cut off, behind the scenes type of scenario where no photos allowed. These are all stuff that's either just been released or going to be released in the future, as opposed to stuff that was publicly available for anybody to take a look.
Yeah, it was very strange because having a no photos policy is perfectly acceptable, especially for showing products that haven't come out yet. But a
Yeah.
lot of the products had come out,
Hmm.
so it was confusing to say the least.
Yeah.
Um, I will say, like, yeah, Lego is still doing really well.
Hmm.
I think they have a lot of interesting products.
Yeah.
Their big reveal, and mind you, I mentioned that a lot of companies aren't doing anything techy, but Lego does have this like smart chip system
Hmm. Yeah.
that they're doing.
The smart block. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is basically it's. I think it might use the same technology that they were using in the Super Mario Lego,
Hmm.
where you could put the Mario on the set and it would recognize that you had put the figure there.
Hmm.
And this, they've kind of taken that, maybe it's smaller, because like it now fits into these tiny little blocks and put it into Star Wars sets now. So you can put, you know, a TIE fighter pilot inside the TIE fighter and it
Hmm.
knows that you did that and once you start moving the TIE fighter, it'll start making little TIE fighter noises.
Yeah.
And I thought that's a little cool idea that doesn't really derail the experience because the Mario kits are cool, but the Mario kits also don't integrate well into the system.
Hmm.
It's like one of Lego's biggest strengths is the system. I say it that way because if you ever saw, I think it was the Toys That Made Us, and they
Yes.
did their Lego episode, and they talked a lot about the system. They even put like a little reverb on it
Hmm.
because Lego products are supposed to be all compatible with each other. The fact that you can put Duplo and Loop and Lego pieces on the same thing, that Technic sets have standard Lego pieces in them. And we talk about things like legal and illegal builds. Like everything has like there is a system
Hmm.
that is the company's major strength is that all the sets should be compatible with each other.
Yeah.
So the smart blocks definitely fit more within the system than like the stuff they did with the Super Mario kits. Because I don't think I've ever seen anybody really play with the Lego stuff with the Mario Lego stuff within regular Legos. I'm sure
Hmm.
you can,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
but it doesn't integrate as well as these, where you could build something new if you had the TIE fighter and then redesign it to look like a different ship and
Hmm.
still have it make the little sounds and do crazy things.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
We'll see how this goes because Lego has had other tech initiatives in the past. I remember the hidden side sets, which used AR.
Hmm.
Like you would open the app and you'd point it at the set. It would recognize that you had built the set and it would give you like ghost
Hmm.
and everything, so you can interact with like the ghost with the app.
Right.
Take your little minifig and move the. It was a cool idea, and I actually liked the world building in the hidden side sets because it was like ghost investigators,
Hmm.
which is a nice, that's not, again, I think one of the Lego strengths is that even though that their core product are these generic blocks, the franchises they have created are very strong and imaginative.
Agreed.
They were talking about Ninjago,
Oh, yeah.
the anniversary of Ninjago, I think 15th they said,
I believe so, yeah.
and feel, disintegrate into dust if you grew up with Ninjago.
Sonic the Hedgehog stuff they had on display that was pretty cool. Tons more Star Wars. Also, the Lego art. I always find so fascinating, like actual art pieces that you can make using Lego bricks, and they look gorgeous once they're all
Yeah,
together.
that Lego is definitely one of those companies that's leaned really hard into the adult market. I don't even want to say kid-adult because the products are made for adults. They feel made for adults. They're not, a lot of them aren't even made for continued play. Like you build it once, like model kits. They're basically creating model kits, but knowing that not kids, I mean, rather adults don't need they don't need a Lego Gundam, right?
Yeah.
So instead, they went for things that are more, I don't know if you want to say useful, because you say Lego art, like you can put that on the wall. Like
Yeah.
some people will still put a Lego robot on there. Well, they'll build the Lego Death Star and have it on display, and that's cool.
Sure.
But there are people that would prefer something a little less geeky. And so we have the art and we have the botanicals.
Right.
The botanicals are great. Like I bought them for my parents. My parents love them.
Yep.
And they have them. My mom has the flowers, and my dad, I gave him the bonsai tree.
Yeah, they had a building station, since it was Valentine's weekend, on the floor as well, and the public area of the Lego booth where you could build you build yourself flowers, and they had the full instructions on how to build them there on site as well.
Yeah, I feel like that wasn't. I'm not going to say it wasn't thought through, but it was not an ideal experience.
It was very busy.
Yeah, it was very crowded. It was hard to get in there. And then when we finally walked over there, I think we walked over there towards the end of the show because I thought, oh, well, a lot of people are leaving. And people were leaving, but not enough to make the booth free. So I basically just walked in there and just grabbed a bunch of each piece and threw them in a bag.
Yeah.
And I assume you have not put together the flowers yet then, Eddie.
I started. I didn't actually complete, but I started. So at some point, I will put together at least one flower. That is going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was Valentine's Day. I was like, your wife is going to be mad at you. To give her a Lego flower.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have interactive things. I think that gets people to the booth. It gets people involved with the product. It's just this was too small for the scale it was at.
I agree.
But I would say Lego had probably the nicest booth in terms of like the public facing side.
Yes, it was very pretty.
Yeah, but they had some good stuff. Like again, the botanicals. They had some new botanical sets that I thought were really nice. They had some city sets. Again, they're just making basically like these model kits that are easy for anyone to put together.
Yeah.
Like that's Lego's biggest strength.
Definitely. Of the booths that we got to visit, the Bandai Namco booth was another one that we had an invite for that we got to visit. And again, really not a lot new, but they did have some cool stuff. Like they had their New York Comic Con diorama on display for Godzilla, which was Coney Island themed. So it had a Godzilla themed Wonder Wheel and Cyclone on display for Godzilla, which was pretty cool. And it also had some nice looking Marvel vs. Capcom figures for. That are coming out of Cyclops, Wolverine, and Spider-Man that are available, that are going to be at $100 a pop out of the SH Fig Arts line of Bandai Namco stuff. So really detailed, and they look just like the game. So was very happy to see that. Plus some other Dragon Ball and Chainsaw Man stuff and Tamagotchi like you would normally expect to find at the Bandai Namco booth.
Yeah, Tamagotchi doesn't have anything new because Tamagotchi Paradise came out last year,
Yeah.
so it'll be another year or two before they do yet another Tamagotchi. And they do expand on it's the Tamagotchi Paradise, which is like it's a chunk. It's the largest Tamagotchi technology ever and has like a dial on the side. It even has DLC, which is very funny. I brought that up in like I'm on the Moby Games Discord. Somebody's like, DLC for a handheld, DLC for a virtual pet. What is that even? That's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly there wasn't too much new going on, but I do like because they had on display those little blind box Godzilla figures that I've been obsessed with since I saw them at last year's Toy Fair. And they come inside these little buildings, like instead of a ball, like a gachapon ball, they come in inside a little building. And then what happens is like you get enough of them, basically you have a little cityscape and you have a bunch of monsters to destroy the cityscape.
Yep.
So it creates a play set, and it's only depending on where you buy them, they're only $5 or $6. I did buy a Mothra one at New York Comic Con back in October, and I wanted to get more of them, and they were hard to find. But and I even brought that up, and he's like, "Yeah, we're expanding. And they're not disappearing."
Yeah,
that's been my biggest problem with some toys. Is just like it's like 6 months. If you don't get it within that 6-month window, it's just forget it. And we don't even make it that easy to find. This is me mostly thinking about like just certain Funko toys that I wanted.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm saying toys, not collectibles. When I talk about the Funko booth, I'll go into this, but there was it's just nice to see them say, oh yeah, we're, you'll see it in more places. We're bringing this out. It's not disappearing from the face of the earth.
I also just remembered the gachapon that was at the Bandai Namco booth that we got to check out. They actually had, functional working gachapon, and not just gachapon toys, but also gachapon posters.
The flats.
Yeah, the flats. Yeah.
So traditionally, gachapons are little toys that come in balls. Like you open the ball, and there's maybe a figure that you put together, or a figure you don't put together, like one that's just a solid piece. But I've also gotten a lot of ones that you have to kind of assemble. Sometimes you'll get keychains, but they have in Japan, I've never seen them in the United States until now, what are called flats, where you might get like a print or a pencil board. It comes out instead of rolling down and, you open up the little door and take the ball out. It just comes out the front, like it just spits out like a tongue. Yeah. So, do you have that near you, Ian?
Not near me at the moment, but I did. But basically, these were gachapon flats of DC comic cover recreations, and this was the cover to JLA #1 that I managed to grab. So with Starro and the bunch, and it's just a full size poster that you can put on your wall of that particular DC issue. So, and they had a whole bunch of others. They had like Action Comics #1 as part of it. They had a couple Batmans in there. I think there was a Wonder Woman or two. So and it's all blind box like anything else is with gachapon. So you don't know which one you're going to get when you put your tokens in.
Yeah, you were very happy that you got that JLA one, and I looked at it. The print quality is actually pretty decent.
Oh yeah,
on it. I figure you'd probably frame it and put it up somewhere, maybe above your desk. It was nice. I mean, like Ian was looking at all the machines, and I saw that one. I said, Ian, you're like required by nerd law to get that one. I just put because they gave us both tokens. It was very sweet. The Bandai people are lovely. They gave us tokens and we put them in the gachapon. I chose the Kirby machine, and I got a little like a running Kirby that I gave to my brother because my brother collects Kirby figures. Yeah. It was very funny because I handed it to them and like my niece is there and my brother's like, this is mine, not yours. Mine. It's daddy's.
Oh my God. I love it.
I can't give him anything without her immediately making it her business, which is, just the way kids are.
Yeah, of course. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was cool. I also told them, give me if you don't keep the ball that it came in, because the ball was actually really high quality. I was like, I'll take the ball back because I actually use those to hold my dice.
Sure.
Pro tip. Gachapon balls make great dice holders.
That's sick. It's a great idea, to be honest with you. I remember. I think I repurposed one of mine into a dice holder as well. Actually, now that
you might have copied me because mine were always in a red Gachapon ball. Yep. Unfortunately, I do not have that anymore because it fell on the floor and shattered.
Well, darn.
It was over 20 years old. I'm like, plastic doesn't last forever, But yeah, that was that. I thought that was a really cool item because I did not expect that out of a gachapon machine. No. Gachapons, especially in the United States, they kind of tend to focus on anime properties because they know that's what people will buy. Yep. Like I go to the Bandai Namco store, the Namco Cross. Yes. I think they call it Bandai Cross. Here in Brooklyn at Japan Village. And all of the machines will be just different, anime toys. So you'll have like you might have some like mini Gundam toys, and you'll have like a Chainsaw Man and Demon Slayer, and maybe there'll be like a Don toy or whatever, and which kind of sucks because gachapons are very diverse. Like I have seen some weird gachapons. I know there was a gachapon set of air conditioners. I'm not saying I wanted those, but I love that they exist.
Yeah, yeah.
My favorite that I've seen in recent years were gachapon of kaiju apologizing for the cities they've destroyed.
Beautiful.
Basically, it would be like Godzilla, and it came with a little podium, and you put the Godzilla next to the podium, and he's got his head bowed, as he's doing a press conference to apologize for the cities he's destroyed. I love that.
That's good times. That's good times.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh man, trying to think of other things of note in some of the other booths that I got to visit, and then I'll transition over to you, and then we can wrap things up from there. But the Super 7 booth had some cool stuff on display, like it tends to do. Peanuts. There was some Back to the Future figures that look absolutely nothing like the Back to the Future actors. In fact, they look more like the Back to the Future the musical actors, whether on purpose or not. But they had some G.I. Joes on display for the 250th anniversary of the USA.
That was another license we saw, but we didn't. I mean, I don't know if it's a license or not, because you would think it's government owned. So 250th anniversary, anyone should be able to do it.
Sure.
But not that many people really were doing it. G.I. Joe is a natural fit. It'd be weird to not do it.
Yeah. Mind you, these are Walmart exclusive. While we're at, I didn't even catch that we were looking at it originally. That these Duke, Lady J, Snake Eyes, and Falcon figures will only be available at Walmart for the 250th anniversary. So
yeah, no, I mean G.I. Joe is always jingoistic, so I'm like that is the one brand I would expect to do 250. We did see a few other 250 things, but not that many.
Yeah.
Like nothing pops out at me. I think we might have seen some cars colored like red, white, and blue.
I believe so.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Back to the Future figures. I laughed at that because I saw a Skeet on Ye Old Blue Sky the other day that was joking about how they're bringing back the Back to the Future pinball machine, or I think the video game based on the pinball, something like that. They were like, I can't wait for the return of Pinball Machine Marty, because they didn't license Michael J. Fox's likeness.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like an off-brand Marty, and that's what this reminded me of.
They clearly did. I mean, yes, these are clearly based on the Back to the Future animated series. You can tell just by the general look of it all, but also... yeah, not in all the likenesses of Michael J. Fox nor Christopher Lloyd. So, you get what you get, and at least it's Back to the Future-ish. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, again, these are all nostalgia plays anyway. So people who buy them aren't really buying them for how much they look like the actors.
Yeah, definitely.
Like if you want that, that's a separate product, probably from a different company. That's not what Super 7 does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
no,
that's fine. In terms of just day one, I'm trying to remember if there was anything else. I do know, I will note that the press room seemed to have a little bit more refreshment later in the day. That was nice.
That was nice.
Oh, of the thing we saw on the show floor, there were two things I actually want to bring up.
Yeah.
One, we got to play the Pokemon pinball machines.
I was just going to bring that up. So yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I'm not as intrigued by the Pokemon pinball machines as I was by the D&D pinball machines, because the D&D pinball machines had sort of a choose your own adventure thing going on.
Yeah.
I think all of these machines from Stern, they have there's an app, and you scan into your account. So when you play the game, it does add to your account. The D&D one actually had things like items.
Yeah.
To earn. I don't know about the Pokemon one. I didn't really get the vibe off of it. I can probably look up the website, but I know this was a big deal because even our friends who work there posted about it.
Yep.
And it was really cool. Like you can look, if you look at the pictures of it, it has like the Pokeballs and like the Pokemon Center and all the different little buildings, and it has like the animations on the screen. So it's very like pinball machines are just crazy now.
Oh,
they're beautiful. I mean, they've always been intricately designed pieces of hardware, but now we're putting more electronics in them in a way that feels additive as opposed to like ruining it.
Yeah.
Because like the basic play is still there. We're just kind of creating narratives in a space there's never been narrative. But
the fact that I got to make Team Rocket blast off again in the pinball game was a nice added touch that made me very happy. It's stuff like that, and collecting Pokemon as part of the process of the game. Like Pokédex entries pop up as if you hit the ball in the right place. Like, yeah, it's a well designed pinball game that gets the job done.
That's what if you do the persistent play, you sign up for an account and you scan the app before you play. That is you probably have an in-game Pokédex.
More than likely, yeah.
Because like the D&D one actually saves your items and your level, so when you come back, it'll continue the story where you left off.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was cool. And I always like that Stern their entire booth is always just 2 pinball machines and then like the chair in the middle, I guess, for business deals. They don't need a real flashy booth. It's like it was the same size it was last year. It's very understated, but they know who their market is. The other thing, and this is related, and this was also downstairs. This was a downstairs booth. The robo vendors.
Oh yeah. The ones that were set up with like an ice cream machine and a popcorn machine and a cotton candy machine, and it was weird because like. So we got to sample their goods. We got to sample the ice cream, and basically, you put in what you want, you put in the toppings that you want, and then a robot makes it for you, and it comes out through an arm, and you get to eat it. To be fair, the ice cream that we got to sample wasn't very good. It was overly crystallized, and something that you ran into, Kris, is that you didn't ask for a specific topping, but you still got that topping. I think because I had that topping beforehand, and it still had some of the shoot, essentially.
It wasn't a lot of it. I still got. I forgot. What did you order?
I think I had M&Ms as my topping, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you did M&Ms, and I just did sprinkles, and there were a few M&Ms that were still, I guess, in the dispenser, and they kind of fill in. That's not a big deal. And I will note they didn't have nuts as a topping,
which is important.
Yeah, because if that was an issue where you have this stuff gets mixed up once in a while, the nuts would create cross-contamination, and that could be a lawsuit.
100% the case, yeah.
So it was smart that they didn't have that. Maybe the ice cream's not great, but the point of these machines, I think, is so to put them in like amusement centers, so that the amusement center doesn't have to worry about serving food. I don't know what the license is. I think it's a different type of license to get if you have these machines.
Sure.
You don't have to have an actual food safety license.
Right. You could put these in malls also, because I've seen similar things in.
That's what they mentioned. Yeah. I asked the woman like, "Oh, what places do you put these in?" And she mentioned it's like usually malls. I mean, you do have amusement centers still, but malls are a big one. And I said, "Oh, like Tangram," and she's just like, "Yeah, I think the company's based in Brooklyn." So when I said Tangram, she knew right away.
Yeah.
Tangram has been mentioned on this podcast before. It is the fancy Asian mall in Flushing, Queens. It is, as Raph would put it, the rich Asian mall.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It doesn't really feel rich. It's just like slightly upscale. It's nice. There's a lot of there's a conveyor belt sushi, Kura Sushi there. They have at least a few places that sell toys, or it's toy. Sorry, what would you South Park would call them? Shitty Asian pop-up.
Yes.
They have a Miniso, but they also have a few other. They have an Akiba house, if I recall correctly.
Nice.
And then they have this giant arcade, which is why I immediately thought of arcades when I saw this ice cream machine. Is that there's like this huge arcade at Tangram that has claw machines, but it also has fighting games. It definitely has. It has. I think I sent you the photo. It has a machine that is definitely bootleg.
Yes.
Because it has like 35 different fighting games from different companies on it.
Gotta love it. You
scroll through and you pick it, and some of them were misspelled, which is the part that made me laugh.
Good old Reet Fighter. Yep.
Yeah, it was like King of Fitters instead of King of Fighters. Yeah, King of Fitters.
Oh my God, I love it.
But yeah, I thought that was one of the things I was telling people about. I was like, "Hey, do you want ice cream? There's free ice cream on the lower level if you go over to the robo vendor." I forgot the name of the company. I apologize.
Yeah.
I know they're not listening to this podcast.
That's fine. I also, while we were on the bottom floor, for any of my fellow wrestling fans, to bring this up again, major had a booth, and Major does non-WWE licensed figures, but they do have licenses with individual wrestlers. So you'll find things like, Sergeant Slaughter on there, Sabu. They also have, a Macho Man Randy Savage in multiple varieties, like the Legion of Doom. But they do have a license specifically with AEW. So you'll find AEW wrestlers like Sting and Orange Cassidy and guys like that get action figures through them. They're a little bit more old school with their action figures, like a little bit less, movable joints and stuff like that. But they do also have more intricate figures. What was really funny is that all over the booth was hand painted, not how it's going to look in the final model, because they literally hand painted these as examples of what the figures are going to look like. The final models will be a little bit more, well polished. So if there were a couple of smudges here and there, it was because these were literally hand modeled as display items. So, but, pretty cool figures all around for here, and happy to see AEW getting a figure license out there as well through Major. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was I would say that's mostly day one.
Yep.
Again, nothing really else to say. We went to the press area, and it was I feel like the press area needs to be bigger.
I agree.
Because there's never enough seating.
Yeah. And there's never and honestly, they throw us a couple sandwiches. That's all I ask. Like actually, now that I think about it, last year we did get bagels, so like that was a nice bonus. This year they were just muffins. So but
no, they were Danishes as well.
They were Danishes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I was really happy about that because like muffins can be really messy. The Danishes don't crumble as much.
Yeah.
I know that's a weird thing to be worried about, but I'm like, I want something I can like carry in my hand and walk out with it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, oh shit, I have a meeting in 5 minutes. You grab the Danish and you run.
No question.
It would be nice. It would I don't need sandwiches. Sandwiches are going to get really messy, especially like if you have like cold cuts in them and stuff.
Yeah, point.
But I think you could put out some kind of snacks.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or maybe a wrap. It's a wrap.
Yeah, I don't know. It was when we were in the press booth, we did notice there were some guys who went to some offsite event because we're like, we went to hang up our coats and there were a bunch of bags with like swag bags.
Yeah.
And I looked at them, I went to eat and said, who the fuck is giving out gem dolls?
and that's how we found out that there was a breakfast that morning with an offsite, and that's where
there was. I did in fact find the invite for that particular offsite thing.
Yeah.
I was not invited to the breakfast. I was actually invited to the cocktail hour.
Oh, okay.
Which was the only one that had alcohol.
Ooh.
As they point out. So maybe that was the more important one, and I didn't go because there's only so much you can do.
No, I know.
That was Friday. The cocktail hour was Friday, and I just kind of wanted to go home and relax anyway because I was kind of tired that day.
After we went and got fancy schmancy, food from the food court down the block from there. So
yeah, well, that's the list of if we do our New York Comic Con preview, I would tell you if you're willing to walk down the 26th Street, there is a great food hall.
Yep.
In the Starrett Lehigh building.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to. Like, I don't think anyone really knows it's there other than the people who work in the Starrett Lehigh building, which is, I think, the largest in terms of square foot office building in the world. It's not the tallest. It's just a giant ass building. It used to be like a shipping, because the trains used to go up and down, so the trains could go right into the building and stuff. You know, like where the High Line is.
Yep.
But yeah, they used to be able to train. It's just this giant building. It has this great food court on the first floor, and you can just hang out there, and it's pretty chill. But yeah, no, So that event, I did not RSVP because there's only so much I can do. Maybe I'll go next year because I want a freaking gem doll.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on.
I don't know if this is a coincidence or not, but the guy who runs that event was the one who was complaining about it not being in LA.
Well, ha, ha, ha. Oh,
I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, oh, it's that dude. Yeah, I mean, I don't need swag bags, but again, I was like, who's giving out gem dolls? Jesus H. Christ, that's expensive.
Because gem is excitement.
And they're the collector's dolls, not play lines. So they cost a pretty penny.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was day one was, I think, pretty positive.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was glad I got to experience it, and I'm glad that I had that. Again, just as a reminder, we're going to say it again probably, but next year will be a week later, and it'll be interesting to see how that experience is. But let's get to your day 2 experience and Funko and all that stuff.
So Ian couldn't go. I scheduled most of I would say more of my smaller companies, but also companies where it's not really relevant to comic timing. So I'm not going to talk about everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned to him earlier that I did go to an offsite thing in an apartment as opposed to an actual hotel room or a conference room. Nothing really comic timing relevant there, though I did get some great views. Hold on, I've told Ian this is the best part about going to certain events is just to see get into buildings you normally would never be able to go into. So, these nice views of the city. Let me see if it's
nice.
The other way. Sorry, the other way.
Reminiscent of our
water.
Reminiscent of our cocktail hour at New York Comic Con. Yeah.
Yeah, so some nice river views. I'm not going to say the Hudson River is the most beautiful thing, but it's always nice to be like, water!
Yeah.
That very human instinct. I get all excited.
Yeah.
And I'm always sad that New York Comic Con won't let you go on the roof of the Javits because the views are very nice up there.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, this is what they've taken from us, right? So, so I did that. You know what? I can just scroll through at this point. Yeah, I took a picture of the F1, the giant life-size Lego F1. Incidentally, this is what the small version is the one I bought for my brother for Christmas.
Nice.
Because his favorite F1 teams are Ferrari and Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see. We can unshare. How do I unshare?
Just hit stop.
Oh, I see it now. Okay. So, I did. Yeah, it was CraveX was the PR company that did the offsite thing. And then I went to the floor and I had a meeting with Leapfrog. Again, nothing licensed, nothing. It's more like kid stuff. But hey, for the parents on this call, I will say that I was very excited by Leapfrog's lineup this year. Some of the things that stood out at me, I mean, they do a lot of things that I would consider evergreen.
Yeah.
Like they have this little play phone that, I think it's the emoji phone, and my niece has it. She's had it since she was in diapers. It's basically what my mom gives her so she doesn't fuss while my mom is changing her diaper.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't play with it anymore because she's 5 now, but they still sell that, and it's a really good thing. So anybody, you're a new parent listening to this, the emoji phone that Leapfrog sells is actually great to distract kids.
Mm-hmm.
I visited Tony's. Tony's is a connected speaker thing. I don't connected is the wrong word because it's not really like an Alexa device or anything like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll share that photo real quick, I guess. But so Tony's is part of we want electronic toys, but we don't want to expose our kids to privacy violations.
Mm-hmm.
So what this is you have this little speaker and you put a little figure on top of it. The figure has an NFC chip and it tells the Tony this is the program we're playing. So now they have Pokemon Tonys now, so you can put it on and it'll give you a little Pokemon story with Pikachu or Bulbasaur or Charmander, Squirtle, whatever. But they have other things before, and they've always had licensed ones. Like you can get a Miss Rachel one. The Miss Rachel one was sold out for months and months and months.
Oh wow.
I know that Emma, my niece, has 2 of the Spider-Man ones. We're talking about Spider-Man, and his friends, not Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends from 1980, but the current cartoon.
Yeah.
So she has a little Peter Parker and Miles Morales. She does not have Gwen Stacy because I did not get that one as a sample from them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy it for her because for some reason she's just decided she hates her Tony box now.
Oh no.
If we try to turn it on, she gets a tantrum. She gets a meltdown. It's weird. I'm like, did the Tony curse her out when we weren't in the room? I do not know. But I will say that if you want something that's no screens, you just like storytelling, the Tony box is actually a really good thing to have. The figures are very easy for little kids to manipulate. You just put it on top and it downloads the program. It only has to download it once, but it downloads the program and then it just plays it. And, to control it, you have these little ears on top and you squeeze the little one to make the volume go lower. You squeeze the big one to make the volume go higher. And if you want to switch tracks, you just kind of smack the sides. which for a toddler is just hilarious. Like she's just beating it up
Oh, of
left and right.
course. Yeah.
So I visited them, and I also saw, I just might as well just keep the share going. Oh yeah, so Leapfrog's big standout is they have a guitar that you can play.
Oh,
It has
wow.
actual like frets and stuff on it.
Nice.
So they had a guitar teacher there who was actually playing it, and he was like, "Yeah, this is really great because you can play it like a real guitar." So it kind of takes those aesthetics of something like Guitar Hero, but gives you a way to actually learn.
Mhm.
Like it's not going to totally teach you how to play guitar, but it does have strings at the bottom, and like I said, it has the different buttons to represent, all the the frets and stuff. So I thought this was like one of my standouts from Leapfrog. They also had like a drum kit and a few other things, but the guitar is something I'm definitely going to recommend to people. I
Absolutely.
was going to say it's less annoying than a drum kit. I've always said if you hate someone, give their kids a drum set. Uh,
Yeah, you'll never stop hearing bad drumming.
yeah,
Ever.
I love the pause as that you suddenly had to realize what the joke was there.
Oh, God.
I did go downstairs again. I saw some more Kirby's, so I took some photos of the Kirby stuff because I think I'm gonna buy this little knit Kirby for my
Adorable.
brother.
Absolutely adorable.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not life size.
Yeah.
A life size Kirby would be giant and horrifying, an eldritch creature from the deep.
Eh.
But this is more like pillow sized, I guess the way to put it. So that was like the Tomy booth.
Yeah.
The standout in the Tomy booth, and I know I sent you some of the video, the trailer for it, was this thing called Doteki,
Okay.
which I think is already out. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a new announcement. And that it's similar to Crossfire,
Mm-hmm.
where you have the little flippers and it flicks the ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, it's really hard for me to describe this like orally, I guess.
It kind of looks pinball-y.
Yeah, so imagine you have your Crossfire or your pinball flippers. It's this little unit and you attach to other flipper units. You have your little controller in your hand and then you connect to the other controllers.
Yeah.
And they're all connected by these elastic band. And what you're trying to do is get your ball in between the other player's flippers.
Okay.
And what happens is whenever the ball hits the pad behind the flippers, the little elastic band starts to come out. Like it has like four notches and it
Hmm.
comes out one notch, comes out one notch, comes out. And once it comes out, the thing breaks,
Uh-huh.
it opens up and that's how you know you're out of the game.
Got it. Okay.
Your little thing is just disconnected. And then the remaining players, I guess, would take theirs and reconnect to each other.
Got it.
And it's like the big thing they were advertising was like it's a dynamic field because it's all connected by elastic bands. You move your thing around and it changes the shape.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a really cool idea. You can go on like YouTube, you can find like the commercials for it.
Yeah.
And it's just little battle. It reminds me, I mean, it's the same sort of vague-ish area that you find stuff like Beyblade in,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more like Crossfire or just a pinball machine. And that was something I thought was really neat.
Sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to talk to the guy from Tomy, but he got distracted by an actual like buyer,
Got
you
it.
know.
Got it.
Because that's something I've always had. Like there are people who do not care about publicity; they just want to talk to store owners, which is fine.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah, that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
that is quite literally what Toy Fair actually is about. So yeah, it makes sense that there will be some people that are only interested in that.
Yeah, I also popped by. I forgot if it was Big Brain or whatever, but they have the license. No, sorry, that goes back to Tomy. But I looked at some board games.
Mm-hmm.
They had Hot Streak there, which is a game I've been wanting for a while. Oh yeah, I saw the icy handheld game. That was super weird.
Ooh.
I'm actually gonna stop sharing because that's maybe a little too weird.
One thing that
Yeah.
we forgot to mention from day one, although since you're talking about downstairs, and I think we mentioned them last year, but I'll mention them again. The tubs, those ducks that are licensed to quite literally every single possible franchise that they can license themselves
Oh
to.
yeah, so we got our ice cream and we walked out of the robot booth and we had the ice cream and we're just eating the ice cream. We started looking at the ducks and the woman came over to us and we're just like very awkwardly eating our ice cream. And I'm like, no, we're not buyers. I mean, we are press. These are cool ducks. Ducks are cool.
Yeah.
You know?
There are Star Trek ducks, No notes. No notes whatsoever.
Yeah, we saw that it was the Q. I saw the Q duck and I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
I think I've seen these before, but they never cease to amuse me.
Oh, they're the best.
Like rubber duckies, it kind of reminds me of, well, honestly, I'll talk about this in a little bit. There's one more booth I'm going to discuss, but it does remind me how Funko used a template at first, right? And then every licensed product was built on that template, and that's what a rubber duck also is.
Yeah.
I mean, these are like a lot of these designer toys are based on templates.
Yep.
You know, like you have the mold and you just decorate it slightly differently. Like I think of Disney Vinylmation. Remember those?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I wish they hadn't gotten rid of that. You know, for those, I mean, Brent probably knows them really well, but that they were these little bears. They were decorated to look like different Disney franchise, different characters.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things is you would buy them, you'd be at Disney World or Disneyland, and maybe you open the box and you don't like the one you got. There were certain locations where you could trade for one of the ones they have in the display case.
Yep.
So we got a few, and then we were going around looking to see if there were ones we liked better, because I really wanted the one that looked like the monorail.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what the ducks, like, you know, Ian has up on the screen. He has the Ninja Turtle ones.
Yeah. Oh, which are so good, I might add. Like the poses and personality that come out of these little, you know, rubber duckies dressed like Ninja Turtles. They get it done very well.
Yeah, no, and mind you, they're not even out of the same mold, because they actually did mold these slightly differently. So that Leo has his katana, and Raph has his sai, you know, Donatello with the bow staff, and of course Michelangelo has pizza, and his nunchucks.
And Captain Janeway has her cup of coffee, and that's what matters most.
Yeah, she does. We love Janeway and her coffee. So other booths I visited, I did make an appointment with Ravensburger. Ravensburger, I mean, as the bigger whole, is also Brio, which does, you know, the wooden train sets we all probably had when we were kids. I mean, and just of note to Comic Timey people, I mostly would focus on, they had some cool board game stuff. It's the anniversary of, God, what's the name? Rush Hour, which is like that puzzle game where you have to get the car out of the grid. So they had a few Rush Hour products. I also talked to them about Lorcana a bit, and how, you know, like, again, Lorcana is really hard to get sometimes. Like, it exploded, and I talk about how we talked earlier about Magic the Gathering, how Magic the Gathering is doing these licensed sets, and it's getting people who don't normally play TCGs into TCGs. Yeah. And Lorcana was definitely that. It was people like got interested in, who liked it for the Disney stuff. Because I outright admit I probably do not want to get into Lorcana too much, because I know that TCGs can be like a swamp. Yeah. But I love the artwork, and I love looking at the Lorcana cards, and I feel like that's the only reason I would get Lorcana cards, is I really love the art on them, and I think they're beautiful. I did get a few packs from them, which was very nice.
Nice.
But yeah, and they had a giant some puzzles. That's what Ravensburger is mostly known for, are puzzles. And they have a giant Pokemon puzzle that's several feet long, and that's like 40,000 pieces.
Nice.
So I thought that kind of cracked me up. And I also saw some puzzles of one of a T-shirt I owned.
Oh, cool.
I think I sent you that photo.
Yes, I believe you did.
Yeah, I'll throw that up real quick. I wish this was faster to do share. Yeah. But so I used to be a big consumer of threadless T-shirts. I own a lot of threadless T-shirts. Yeah. I still own a lot of threadless T-shirts. I've gotten rid of a few over the years, but I have one of these like little sushi rice sleeping on the board, and they have their blankets or whatever the sushi topping is. And the thing is, and I saw that on a puzzle, and I was like, okay, that's an independent designer. Good for them. Yeah. It's nice that I was on the lookout, and I brought this up with Ravensburger, and they said they do try to work with artists, because I was on keeping an eye out for AI art. Because a lot of puzzle manufacturers have been switching to AI generated art, which sucks, because like puzzles are one of the things that like established artists can like get their art out there, get paid for their art. You know, make a nice little chunk of change there, and to see companies that are which I learned again from Reddit. Because there's those little puzzles Reddit, and people were complaining like, I bought this puzzle and I'm pretty sure this is AI art, and you know, mostly just ragging on it. They take photos of like all the bad misshapen hands or whatever that show up in the art. Yeah. But it was nice to just see Ravensburger is still leaning on actual human artist. Good. So I guess my final thing of the day was to go visit the Funko booth. Oh yeah, hold on. Before I move on, I will say that Ravensburger / Brio, they do the Connectix thing.
Yeah.
So they have Spider-Man set now.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so you have like these, sorry, why am I forgetting the actual name of the line here? Gravitrax.
Okay.
So Gravitrax are these things where you build these little marble runs and you can stack up the pieces and they have little tracks in the top and you connect them and then you go to the highest point, you drop the marble and it runs through it.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have Marvel themed ones. So they had one that was Spider-Man themed and had, a giant Venom head. And you also had like little figures of like different Spider-Man villains, like Green Goblin.
Yeah.
There was also a Mary Jane. And it was funny because I looking at it and I said, you guys really should put it like a Daily Bugle over here. And the guy's like, I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe not. And then I looked at the box and I was like, dude, it's on the box. It's literally right there on the box. Lady, it was a woman.
Well, maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
Yeah, she was doing that whole maybe the new Spider-Man movie doesn't have all the Spider-Man minutes, even though the set leaks,
Boy.
Like lovely two women, lovely women, but it was just very funny because I was like, come on.
Love it.
Oh yeah,
man.
no, they have all sorts of sets, like the dinosaur ones for like little kids. Yeah, I think Gravitrax is cool. But anyway, we will move on. Since we mentioned earlier, this is more for the video people watching the video. I talk about Instagram spots.
Mm-hmm.
So like took photos of a few of them. Here was like a Littlest Pet Shop one.
Nice.
Hold on, what was the other one? Yeah, and there was a Winx Club thing of pair of wings. We're on a wall, so you could stand in front of it and pretend like you had wings.
Of course.
So I saw a lot of that, a lot of these little Instagram spots. But yeah, anyway.
Funko, the much smaller Funko booth.
I didn't really feel that small once I went in there. So I got it. I didn't book an appointment originally because I was like, well, I haven't needed one for like the past two toy fairs. It feels weird. I also wasn't sure there was going to be anything I was terribly interested in, especially since Funko's been having financial problems.
Right.
We all know that there's a very real possibility they will not be around in a year or two. So it was kind of like a weird, like, do I really want to see Funko? And I will say in the end, like the summary is, I'm glad I went.
Okay, good.
They actually did have a lot of stuff. The guy was super nice. I got a last minute slot, not last minute, but like they were like, oh, we have an open slot at, I think it was 3:00. And I'm like, that's fine. And I think I was supposed to be with a larger group, but I ended up just with this one other guy who does a podcast. I think it was like, it's like Robot Reveals or whatever. I apologize to him because he actually did subscribe to Comic Timing.
Oh, wow.
He did. So you might be able to find the name real easily.
That's funny.
Hold on, I'm going to actually pull that up and give him a quick shout out as soon as I find
listeners in the wild.
A new listener.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, his name is Ryan Sonera of Robot Reviews was my companion.
All right, there you go.
This for the Funko booth.
Very cool. Hello, Ryan. I hope you're listening to this.
Yes, very different opinion on me on the stuff because having worked, I think, doing journalism, working in the tech industry, I tend to approach these shows very differently.
Yes.
He approached it more as a fan. Mm-hmm. So we had two very different things, and he was vibing with our guide a lot more than I was.
All right, fair enough.
So I was like, I was the third wheel. So for me, my big excitement for the Funko was I wanted to see more of the Bitty Pops.
Yes, your new obsession.
Yeah, I've definitely I've mentioned this in the past. So for the past few years, I think they introduced them in 2023. Funko is doing these little miniature pops, and they come in these little boxes, that look like the full-size Funko boxes, and then they have this little bitty figure that you can pull out of it. And then in 2025 or so, 2024, they started introducing little houses for your Bitty Pops.
Okay.
And so you get a little Bitty Pop guy, and he comes with a little house, and you can put him inside the little house, or her inside the little house, or them. And we saw it was last year's Toy Fair, that they are expanding that line now into what they're calling Bitty Towns. They were calling it Bitty Cities when we saw it last year. Now it's Bitty Towns because there's actually a game, I think, called Bitty Cities.
Oh, okay.
When you Google it, you find the game instead of the Funko Pop product.
Got it.
But so I saw that and immediately just like, maybe it's my dollhouse brain or my miniature modeler game. Maybe it's my deep down Latina loves shit like making nativities brain. I don't know. but it immediately appealed to me. And I think I went out and I bought the Frodo, the bag end set.
Yep.
It was the first one I bought, and it was only a few bucks. It was great. And they are expanding this because what's cool about it is that not only are you getting this cute little model house, but you can buy road pieces and like land pieces and build a whole city now.
Nice.
And I think that's the other thing that appeals to me is now I can build a little city that has different franchises in it.
Yeah. No, that's
So
awesome.
on my coffee table right now, because I haven't moved it yet, I have a little city and I have the house from Up and the Quickie Mart and I have Jack Skellington's house and I have the Fortress of Solitude. The Fortress of Solitude is in the corner all by himself.
Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, I have Dracula's castle right next to Jack Skellington, so I have like a little Halloween town.
Nice.
I made like a little parking lot area, so I have the Quickie Mart and the ramen place from Naruto arranged, and I have all the teenagers hanging out in the parking lot.
Okay.
So that's what I own. What I saw at the show is that they are kind of expanding into more generic kits. So this within a few weeks, actually, I think it's only 2 weeks from now, they're going to be releasing these more like generic Biddy Towns things. So there's like a donut shop, a record store, a skate shop, an arcade.
Yep.
And these will not be connected to any licensed property in particular. They're just generic Biddy people.
Okay.
And I actually really like them because I was looking at like the sculpt. If you are watching the video, you can see the skate shop actually has a skateboard with the wheels facing out. And that's actually a molded piece on the front of the store. So, and yeah, in the photo, you can also see this little Batmobile. So you can have Batman patrolling the streets of your Biddy city. So I was really excited to see more of that stuff. The generic ones are on the website, but there were a few they announced that haven't been put on the website. They have the Cantina from Star Wars: A New Hope.
Very cool.
So I'm super excited. In the photo that I'm showing, the Cantina is next door to Bag End. I went out and I bought Luke Skywalker in the land speeder. So I already have Luke waiting for the Cantina to be built.
Okay.
So sorry guys, this is me nerding out about my little guys. We all have little guys. Raph has his toys, Ian has his toys. These are my little guys. My little guys are the Biddy City stuff.
Yep.
So that was that. Yeah, like I said I own the ramen shop, and they also have little stages that you can buy that have the members of BTS on them. And they told me, like everyone, they have KPop Demon Hunters stuff coming out. I will talk about, they have the figures, but they're going to have Biddy City stages of Huntrix on the little stages. So that was kind of cool. But to talk about regular freaking Funko Pop stuff.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, honestly, I was really surprised. There were a lot of really cool things. Like they still have, the license for like Jurassic Park stuff. They're doing a lot more. We know that they've been doing a lot more blind bag things.
Yeah.
So they have these little eggs that you can get that have, dinosaurs inside them. Biddy Pop blind bags are $3, which is not terrible. Like a lot of blind bag stuff might be, $10.
Yeah, it's not that,
15, or if it's Labubu, it's what, $40?
Something like
that. Unless it's a really rare Labubu, and then it's $80. But I cannot understand buying a blind bag thing that is $40.
I know, and Labubu is finally starting to die out. At least the trend seems to be at this point. So we'll see if that's still the price it is in a couple of months.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff in the Funko booth was already out. Like I just posted a picture. There's the Rogue, the Christmas Rogue.
Ooh.
One thing I thought was interesting about the Funko booth is that they do arrange it by franchises in general.
That's smart.
But they also have special sections for seasonal, which is where I saw the X-Men 97 Christmas Rogue, where she's got a bunch of presents in her hands.
Yep.
And, they also had like stuff for Christmas, Halloween, and Easter. I think people don't think about how Easter is actually a big toy holiday.
That's true.
Because little Christian boys and girls get a basket from the Easter bunny, and usually there's little toys in the Easter basket. You wake up on Easter morning and you open your door and there's a basket in front of there and it's filled with candy and little toys. It's really underrated as a holiday, I think, in that regard.
You know what us Jewish kids get? Cadbury eggs the day after Easter on discount.
We buy those too.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
I think that's really interesting that like when people are like, oh yeah, for Easter basket toys, and I was like, oh crap, that is a thing, isn't it? Like I never even thought about it. Like as a kid, you think of your big holidays are Halloween and Christmas, candy and toys, and then there's this holiday if you're a Christian child whose parents actually give a crap about that stuff, where you get both. I think I blotted it out of my mind because also, like many Christian children, I had to dress up for Easter. I had to wear the hard, shiny shoes
Good.
and the tights that don't stay on your ass and just roll down as the day goes by.
Oh boy.
Just pure misery. Just yeah, I love just saying the hard shiny shoes. Every child knows the hard shiny shoes. If your parents subtly hate you, you've probably worn the hard shiny shoes. I love you, mom, but hard shiny shoes. But yeah, like I thought I wasn't gonna see much, but I was kind of surprised. Like there was wrestling toys. They've done wrestling toys for a while. I know
Yep.
it's not a great photo if you're looking at the video, but this Roman Reigns set where he actually has the ring.
Love it.
So the figure goes into the ring.
Okay.
So that was an interesting toy to me.
Yeah.
I know this picture's a little blurry too. Let's see if I got one that's no, I do not. Yeah, sorry, I'm very obsessed with. Yep, no, I could not get a good photo of it.
That's fine.
Yeah, just more bitty stuff. Yeah, clearly I have a problem. So a few years ago, actually, you know what? I'm going to try to keep this organized. So bitty pops still a thing. I saw stuff like Chainsaw Man the movie. They had a set you can buy Denji riding the shark now.
Okay.
So one thing our guide brought up was the fact that a lot of Funkos have these elaborate sculpts. Like when Funko first launched, again, everybody, it was like those mugs, where they had the arms kind of sticking out on the sides. But now they have actual arms in poses and they can put stuff on them. Like I have a Wolverine pop on his motorcycle. I think I got that in the when they used to have the monthly boxes. So like, yeah, Denji riding, Chainsaw Man riding the shark from the movie, which you have not seen, Ian, and you really should. That's a thing you can do. Yes, I saw some Sakamoto days.
Love it.
They put all the anime in one area. So there's they have the Rooster Fighter figures. That was one of my favorite of the anime ones. Is they have the sculpt of the rooster just looking all angry. I think that's debuting later this month on Crunchyroll.
Okay.
Yeah, Don the Don. Yeah, just like all the general stuff. The sculpts are getting nicer. There's nothing really groundbreaking about any of this, but it's still making them money, so they're not going to stop anytime soon.
Sure, yeah. Why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you if it's making you money? It's just you'll have to, especially as you're doing with the bankruptcy stuff. Like they're just going to have to pick and choose which ones will make them money and not make ones that don't. Plain and simple.
So I think it was Playmates and Funko both have the Ninja Turtles kaiju stuff.
Yes.
So I'm posting a picture here. They had the Turtles X Godzilla. So you can get, Donatello, the Jet Jaguar.
Yeah.
Or, Raph and Rodan.
Love it.
And I know we also saw those I saw the regular figures over in the Playmates booth. So that was kind of interesting.
I love that it's right next to Martha Stewart.
I was just going to bring that up. I love that there's a Martha Stewart Funko Pop coming out. I do not think she had one before. This is Pop Icons.
Okay.
Which honestly, Pop Icons is one of my favorite like Funko brands. Because that's where they're willing to have like slightly off-kilter weird things, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because I think the Pop History vinyls, when I used to buy those, were an offshoot of the Icons. So I have a Funko, a Pop version of Washington Crossing the Delaware.
Yes.
Everyone, my father laughed at it when he saw it. Everyone kind of cacks up when they see it on my shelf.
Yeah.
I'm not getting rid of that, even if I could sell it for hundreds of dollars at this point. But yeah, so like they're still doing that general Funko stuff. There was some real standouts. One of my favorites is they have the alien, the face huggers. Or not the face huggers, the baby alien that bursts out of the chest, and they have what looks like I don't know what you want to call it, a lab capsule. Like that you keep laboratory specimens inside of, and they have the baby alien inside one of those. That's a Funko Pop now.
Yeah.
That you can buy.
Nice.
And it lights up.
Nice.
Yeah, they had some really cool light up ones. I think the best Funko, the Pop thing that I saw was the Batman with the bat signal. Again, it lights up. And he says when you point it against the wall, like my guy told me, when you point it against the wall, you'll see the little Batman symbol on the wall. It's not that bright. And I said, how bright is it? And he's like, oh, it's close up. And I'm like, okay, so it's not like you're going to have a dark room and you're going to see the bat signal on you. But I don't think you really need it to.
I don't think so.
One thing to note about this figure is it comes with the batteries.
Ooh.
The batteries are included.
Okay.
Which is cool, but I think about it, I actually think that's a terrible idea.
Really?
I know it's convenient. Like you're like, oh, it's ready to go out of the box. I can set it up right away. But if you're like a collector who doesn't open your boxes,
It's just gonna.
2 years,
Yeah. I
yeah,
get
3 years from now, that's just battery leakage.
Good point. Good point.
Like that's I mean the one nice thing about Funko boxes is that you can take the figure out and rebox it and it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to open that box. You have no choice. You have to take the thing out to get the batteries out before they burn through your very cute figure.
Good point.
The other thing they were pushing, yeah, just random things. You know, we have Superman figures, where figures tying into the Supergirl movie from later this year. Yeah, oh yeah, I do really like the Superman, the Fortress of Solitude is a nice one that I saw.
Yep.
It's just, yeah, there's nothing like really pops out. There was still, yeah, X-Men 97. I think this was already announced. Yeah, already came out. Was a Wolverine from X-Men, the animated series, sitting on the bed looking at the portrait.
Yeah.
That was immortalized as a Funko Pop. So, but yeah, in general, like, yeah, in terms of the Funko, they're still doing their thing. I think there are fewer licenses on display. That was the feeling I got. But aside from that, they're just going on full steam ahead. Hopefully, they will recover from this slump that they're in.
I'm sure they will.
So I'm going to talk about the things that are not Funko Pop now.
Okay.
So a few years ago, you might remember Funko bought Mondo. Mondo was the merchandising house for Alamo Drafthouse. They would do limited edition vinyl posters. They would design new posters for movies.
Yeah.
And they'd be printed, screen printed and everything. And they were like really high end stuff. But then Alamo's been having financial problems, so they had to sell Mondo, and it was bought by Funko. So that's their premium brand basically. Even though Funko Pop at its, sorry, not Funko Pop, but Funko at its core is a collector's brand, this is their premium collector stuff.
Yeah.
So we had there's like over the garden wall figures that look pretty much exactly like the characters. They're well sculpted, hand painted. They're beautiful figures. Set's $95 as, or the limited edition one, which is $120. I thought that was, yeah. I took a lot of photos. What do you want? They had figures of, they also more X-Men 97 stuff.
Yeah.
So Wolverine, and I think this stuff was at previous shows, so I'm not really revealing anything.
A lot of it was, to be honest, because this all looks kind of familiar. So yeah.
Yeah. So that was stuff. I think the big standouts was that another brand that Funko bought some time ago was Loungefly, who makes designer bags for nerdy people, specifically nerdy girls. Let's be honest, purses for nerdy girls. They have a bag that looks like Hey Hey from the Moana films.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I would do with a chicken-shaped bag, but if you are into a bag that looks exactly like a cartoon chicken, you can buy a bag.
Some people want that, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's one that looks like the Going Merry from One Piece.
That's pretty cool.
And you can see like it's got like the zippers on the sides, so you can actually put stuff in it. But it feels more like a display piece because it's got the masthead, the sails, it's got the little, the cabin on the roof. It is interesting to see, I don't know if you want to say the commodification of fandom and how when we were younger, if you wanted something from your favorite TV or movie, you had to buy a kid's toy. And it was always the quality was fine, but not great.
Yeah.
Like, because they weren't meant to be displayed. They were meant to be bashed together and thrown across a room and shoved in a basket when your mom told you to clean up and all that. And now we're seeing so many things that are like lovingly crafted that for adult nerds, right?
Which is important, I mean, well, that kind of is their whole brand, to be entirely honest with you. Because sure, I'm sure kids are going to be interested in some Funko stuff, but yeah, the adult nerds are the ones who are buying Funko stuff to begin with, and that's why they bought these brands, is to capitalize on that. So that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, I just to go back briefly to the Bitty Pop, and I thought they should do this, and I'm glad that someone else had the same idea. Is that one of the new sets that they're selling is a Loungefly store.
Oh wow!
And then there's a Mondo arcade, which is a really weird choice because Mondo, I don't think of video games. I think of the either figures or the records. I thought they would make a record store be Mondo, but not. Instead, it's an arcade, which means there are 2 arcade sets in the Bitty Towns thing, and I'm like, I don't see the point. That's my one criticism. Yes, so some nice bags from Loungefly,
Yeah.
including this a D&D backpack that looks like dragon scale.
Ooh.
Black leather, textured with dragon scale. It's got tons of pockets and little straps. Very, very, very lovely. Red and black colored. So
Very cool.
So unisex.
So overall, they had a lot more stuff than even you thought they would.
I was pleasantly surprised. They are definitely there is a sense at the company they are trying to expand beyond the pops. So you have stuff like this is like whittled. They had these pops that look like Winnie the Pooh characters, but look like they're carved out of wood.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, which I said I'm surprised you guys don't have ones that are just wood. People would buy those.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah, they're trying like not just the Mondo, but they're trying to expand into more designer toys. Like they're working with designers. Again, with all this push towards AI, it's nice to see companies reaffirming their commitment to creatives.
Yeah.
So like there are these little I forget the names of the designers, but these little designer figures. The ones I'm showing on the screen kind of look like little rabbits,
Yeah,
but
they do.
they have like little weird little outfits. Yeah, those are just standard pops.
Yeah. Just in the end, that is how they're going to succeed. Is not just pigeonholing themselves into I already bought this, so I don't need to buy more. Like they have to present, a wide berth and variety of different toys and accessories that you'd be interested in, and that's how they're going to survive this. So it makes
they're diversifying the product line. I saw these little Zodiac pops, and the thing is, that's still more Funko Pops, but it feels like a diversification because it reminds me it's similar to Lego Botanicals.
Yeah,
like these are figures. These are Zodiac themed Funko Pops, and so you're like, oh, maybe my girlfriend might like one because she's a Libra, so you buy her the Libra one, right?
Yeah.
I'm a Scorpio, maybe somebody will buy me the Scorpio one. One of the other things, and I didn't get a photo of it, I can pretty much stop sharing at this point anyway.
Yep.
Is they're also doing I know right now you can already do the pop yourself. Popify yourself.
Yes,
you've seen ads for that. They've been advertising it at New York Comic Con and other comic conventions over the years, where you can get a pop made of yourself. And now what they're going to do is they're going to have kiosk at like toy stores and stuff where you can go and you can order it via the kiosk. So that was something that they're thinking of pushing.
All right.
Like you can go to Toys R Us because Toys R Us is back. So,
well, sort of, but yeah.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, there is one in the New York area. I say area because it's not in New York City. I mean, there is a Toys R Us inside Macy's, but a real Toys R Us out in New Jersey at the American Dream Mall.
Yep.
Again, not New York, even if they're going to pretend it is, like the World Cup is like, oh yeah, we're playing in New York. I'm like, no, you're playing at the Meadowlands.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that was my last thing of the day.
Very cool.
Oh, so something I thought was interesting. I wanted to bring this up, and I know some of our listeners probably already know this, but I did not, and I was like, oh shit, that's why. So the guy I was with mentioned, he was just like, oh, all the Star Wars Funkos are always bobbleheads, and that's because that's a licensing thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if a Funko Pop is a bobblehead, it's because they don't have the rights to make Funko figures.
I see.
Of that thing.
I see.
Yeah, like the license for action figures is with Hasbro, obviously. They make, the action figures and the collectible figures. So in order to get any kind of Star Wars license, they can't make those two categories. So they make bobbleheads. So the Star Wars will always be bobbleheads unless somehow Hasbro relents or, changes the license or whatever. I don't understand all of this, but that's why certain Funkos are bobbleheads, is because they can't get the rights. The Biddy rides, like they have the little cars like the Batmobile. The reason they don't have working wheels, the reason why no Funkos have like working wheels, like they're not working vehicles, is they don't have that license. That license would be to make a toy car. And they make collectible figurines, right?
Yeah.
So they can't make a working car. Though, my guide pointed out, he's like, yeah, well, at least with the Biddy rides, you can still kind of slide them around like they have wheels anyway. But I thought that was I was like, oh, I've learned something new today. The more you know.
Well, I most definitely learned plenty And I'm glad that the Funko experience worked out for you, and that day 2 worked out for you, and that's all you needed, because we didn't need all 4 days anyway, and it all makes sense in the end. And next year we'll have more things to explore and more things to report. So glad we had a full episode on this that wound up going 3 hours anyway, because we always wind up talking. It's freaking long, so go figure. Yep.
I mean, I would say we didn't even go off track that often.
I know. Not bad for us indeed. But
I mean, the thing is, it still was a smaller show. Like, this will be my wrap up here, and again, we've already outlined all of the political reasons for that. I think the toy industry is evergreen, because there are always going to be children who need toys, and now there's going to be weirdo adults without children who need toys. It's a balm in this terrible world, something to comfort your soul. But yeah, it really did surprise me how quickly we were able to see everything.
Yeah.
Or nearly everything. I'm sure there were a few booths I didn't really notice. It's not that I didn't see them, but I didn't really notice them. I tried to kind of look, but yeah, like smaller China pavilion, smaller international pavilion, to have that giant section on the downstairs that wasn't being used.
Yeah.
And then the floor never really felt crowded. Some years, Saturday will be crowded. But it seems like a lot of people actually wait for the weekdays to go to the show. So those could have still been crowded.
I wouldn't be surprised if Monday was very crowded. Exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. But it just felt it's not as bad as it used to be. And I mean, of course, that does mean that we're going to be in a bit of a slump for a while until, this whole tariffs and manufacturing situation gets sorted out, or if it doesn't, I don't know, maybe we'll find a new way to do toys and toy manufacturing. I don't really know. I can make no predictions based on this toy fair. I feel like it was just kind of there. Like, again, the big trends were the license that nobody bought, KPop Demon Hunters, and like other years it would usually be stuff like poop or llamas, but there was no like generic trend this year. That was one of my other takeaways. Besides the whole tech thing, again, the lack of tech was a little weird, because I do feel like toy companies like to experiment. But I still thought it was I had a good time. Everybody was super cool. Thank Toy Fair for providing press badges.
Absolutely.
And I saw some kidfluencers, but they all seem to be having a good time. Unlike previous years, I've seen kidfluencers that look miserable. So maybe we're finally getting past this trend. I don't know.
We saw kidfluencers taking full advantage of the podcasting booths that they set up just so that they could yell and scream and no one could hear them. I remember that when we were in the press area. So
oh God, I didn't even notice that it was kids in the room.
But still, it was a great time overall, and I'm looking forward to next year, and hopefully we'll have good things to report next year as well. Let everybody know where they could find you, Kris, and all the usual spiel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm around on Blue Sky, lampbane.bsky.social. I didn't really publish any articles about Toy Fair this year, just for various reasons.
Yeah.
Hopefully I will have some buyer's guides out later in the year, but who knows? Because again, everything's up in the air. But yeah, you can just find me on Blue Sky. We also have the Comic Timing group, and I do look at Facebook, and I do see stuff that's posted there. And I'm around. I'm very online.
All right. And with that... Ooh, that was loud. Email address for Comic Timing is comictiming@gmail.com. Facebook.com/Comic Timing is where you can find the Facebook group and the Comic Timing fan group. We're on Blue Sky as Comic Timing. We're on Instagram as Comic Timing Podcast, and Threads as Comic Timing Podcast. And we're also on YouTube, where you can find us at youtube.com/@Comic Timing Podcast, where you can find the video version for this and other episodes. And for Kris, I'm Ian, reminding everybody out there that there's always time for comics and toys. Lots and lots of toys. So many toys.
Yeah.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.